All right. And we are live. Welcome to The Last Word, episode number 121. It's another glorious Friday, and we're back in front of the campfire for some more looter-shooter discussion. I'm extremely excited about our returning guest, so we're going to get right into it. I want to introduce a Lord who is not only an awesome supporter and friend to the campfire, but was highly instrumental in sparking a flashpoint into having the last word. Whether it be experience in game development, passion for the Destiny franchise, or thought-provoking articles, his unique skill set is truly impactful in our gaming community. Introducing the developer and game designer of Adios and Paratopic, and a freelance games writer for Kotaku, US, and PC Gamer. One of the most passionate Destiny hunters in the game, and our favorite shotgun scientist. Live from Kansas and making his return at the campfire of the last word, my man, Lord DocSquiddy. How we doing, sir?
I am alive. Holy shit, that's like the best intro I've ever heard.
Woo! Royalty, baby.
Gotta do it right, man. Welcome.
Gotta do it right. What's going on?
I think that was even
man?
better than last time.
Cognito's had some practice. He's been stepping up his game, man.
I've been trying, man.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Look, you were here when we were Flashpoint. You know what I'm saying? We had that, that studio apartment. We was just getting our stuff together. You know what I'm saying? Like, look what we did with
We got the studio. The bathroom
place.
was in the kitchen. Basically, you could cook while you go to the bathroom. It was pleasant.
Listen, man, we had the Chinese food on the floor. We was getting started with episode 4. Doc, that's when you was here. Episode 4.
That is crazy.
Holy crap, that was a while ago.
2018, brother.
That was the curse of Osiris days, man. Oh,
bro, he was our biggest guest.
Oh,
you are, bro. It was painful.
And still to this day, our biggest guest.
Our biggest guest, bro. I was so happy. This is fresh off I believe, your US Gamer article.
Yes,
and,
that was an awesome article.
It was awesome. It went completely viral. You broke Reddit. Just for everybody who don't know, we're gonna let you introduce yourself. I was gonna let you know what last thing that you did when you were here. And it was, I believe it was, what was it? How Destiny 2 failed its fan base. And this was during the double primary era,
Yep.
slow ability recharge era, before Go Fast. You were here, and you had a passionate article that really spoke to the core, and everybody rallied behind you. So enough about that. Tell the people who don't know about you who you are. Who's the Doc? What do you do?
Oh man, okay. It's always, one of the weird things, right? Trying to introduce myself. I'm just a dude who used to comment on articles online.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's
It's like, and that's it. Cool. All right. Awesome. Great
All right,
story.
let's get into it.
gosh, I don't know. I kind of started arguing with people online, like they would post things and I'd break them down sentence by sentence, and I learned a habit of like, oh, okay, I know how to like start building ideas really simply, right? So one day, they have this community thing on Kotaku where they post like community posts to the front page, or at least they used to, and I wrote Steven Sotillo and I said, look, you put my stuff on. You put my stuff on like the front page before, so you think I'm front page material. Why don't you, let's make it official. Why don't you pay me, right?
Ooh, let's go.
Let's like not quite like in a hostile way, but like why don't you start
taking me serious.
I don't know.
I'm the breadwinner out here. I'm moving. I'm shaking. Let's go.
We doing things.
I like the name job.
He hired me for a while, and I just started breaking down games and trying to do it like in a simple and like useful way, right? Because I figure, a lot of people who write about video games, they kind of talk down to people, right? Me, I want it to be like, okay, I think everybody who's here is interested in games, so let's talk about that, right? Let's try to help people who want to know about games know more about games. And so that eventually led to, me getting gigs at other places, IGN, US Gamer, all sorts of other sites, right? And US Gamer, those guys are the best. I mean, I think I've loved working with them more than anybody else, in part because one of the editors I have there, I was writing a piece, and she was like, "Isn't this a little long? Like, I'm not sure people will stick with it." And I said, like, "Trust me, I've done this before. Like, just trust me, and you'll get good hits." And that Zelda piece, I think, ended up being one of the best trafficked pieces on the site.
Wow.
And the fact that she was willing to trust me, that she was like, "Okay, I'll trust your judgment on this," that made me more willing, to trust her judgment, right, in the future. And she's just, that's what you want in an editor, is like this trusting relationship, right? So I used to just write all the time, but I don't I don't know how to put this. I'm very picky when it comes to games, right? I know a lot of people, they're like, "Hey, if I had fun, I had fun." Me, I'm like, look, games can be better. Games can absolutely be better than this. So I don't really like walking sims, and I wrote a piece about it. My editor loved it, and then his boss hated it, so he spiked it. And I was like, "Oh, I'm going to show you, buddy." And, I went and I made an award-winning walking sim, and now I'm working on a new one. But, in the first walking sim, it was like, I don't like the games where you just walk around and don't do anything. So I want one with lots of verbs, right? Video game things you do are verbs. So, it was like, I want to go, taking pictures. I want to talk to people. I want to drive cars. Let's put all that in a walking sim framework. Okay. So I did that. My next game is, what happens if you spend time on a farm hanging around?
That's what it's
yeah. So that, that's kind of where I'm kind of trying to advance my ideas, like, how can we make first-person games more interesting? How can we make spaces that feel alive, that feel rich, vibrant? That's what I'm doing on my end. Gotcha. But, I'm also a random dude from the middle of Kansas, right? So it's not like I can just, march over to Activision and be like, how you gave Bungie $500 million to make new IP? Give that to me. I'll do the same thing. I
you ready? You on Matter. You on Matter right now. You about to make it happen.
yeah. I'm trying to convince people, like, hey, I'm doing something, I'm doing something hopefully unique and interesting. I had a friend who told me, Alfred Hitchcock said after Steven Spielberg, movies would never be the same. Like, he destroyed the concept of filmmaking and remade it into something fascinating. This was after Jaws, right?
Yeah.
I want to do that. I want to be for games what Steven Spielberg was for movies, right?
Let's go.
Not that I want to make stuff like Spielberg, but I want to destroy what came before so we can build better games.
This is what I'm talking about.
I'm tired of playing games that are predictable.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. That changes. I'm sorry. Continue.
Oh, I was just gonna say, but for me, I want games to be the best they can be. Like, I've written a lot of stuff about Destiny. It's probably not super positive, right? Like, I wrote about Vice, and I was like, what is happening with Destiny now? Like, why did my 60-person clan fall apart, right? Like, what is going on? And, I never want to, like, be negative. There are a lot of dudes who are like, I remember some famous YouTuber guy being like, yeah, well, the positive stuff never gets any hits, so I only do the negative stuff. And it's like, okay, well, I try to do my best with as much positivity as possible. But Destiny, it's like, I want it to be better, and they keep making weird decisions.
Right.
So I'm always worried people like, you just want to tear Destiny down. It's like, not really. Nah. It's my most played video game of all time for a reason.
No, it comes from a place of passion, right?
Yeah.
Right? It comes from a place of passion. When you love something, you're not afraid to be critical, but at the same time respect. I'll let you go. You're about to jump in.
I was literally going to say the same thing you were, is because Destiny's in a weird place because we've always all, for literally 6 years now, seen the potential of this game. Be it the franchise in Destiny 1, we get to a point like Rise of Iron, and we have those cool armor sets, and then we're like, oh, what's going on in D2? But it's always, the potential's there when they drop things like the Prophecy Dungeon, and you see it for the first time, and the Oryx moment when you're in the bigger, like, the game has such, and it's always, and the shooting has always been like second to none, basically. So there are pieces about the game, and the potential is there, and then so many people have come from different backgrounds, whether it be like Call of Duty and shooters or World of Warcraft and RPGs, and they're like, I want to meld this thing together, and these things don't go together, but I really want them to be this like perfect mesh of, in my head, what could be greatness. And I mean, as Doc said, it's like there are some weird decisions that happen along the way for business, for trying to bring a bigger audience in, for trying to go RPG or not. And it's been a bumpy road along the way, and we still are stuck with this thing because, for one, the community is amazing and been also second to none, because I don't know of a community that's like this for a game. And two, it's truly this thing that, I mean, it's been 6 years of I'm a 37-year-old and it's been 6 years. So it's like, close to 1/6 of my life at this point. I've been covering and hyped and do a YouTube channel and a podcast and everything else over this thing. So it's like, no, it's a very unique beast. And we always want more, which is not fair to ask, but we do.
One of my hypest moments in Destiny was, other than like say killing Oryx, I was walking through the tower and I ran across you at Bontis. Like I just saw you in the tower. I remember that. I was like, oh my God.
Was he glistening? Was he glowing? Was the aura? Was the sunlight off his back? What was the? Give me the visual.
No God rays. God, calm down.
What was the visual?
Majestic, obviously, but also clearly, talking to the postmaster, as we all do.
Yeah, it's back to you. I know about that.
I've definitely been tweeted and be like, dude, turn around. I get to it like 30 minutes later. Sorry.
Did you pull out the selfie emoji? Did you?
No, I've definitely been called out on Twitter by staring at either Postmaster or Gunsmith, and it's like, it could be one of those where I'm like, oh, it's just like left the game for like 30 minutes, and Twitter could have exploded, and I'm like, yep, sorry.
Hilarious. That's cool. So that's one of your moments. Any other high points there in Destiny history? Besides me and E. Oh no, that's hard to top.
Wow. God, calm down. I'm just a dude playing games over here.
Man, that game has given me so much. But you said something about a lot of reasons why there can be decisions made like that. And I think I get some of them. I think a lot of people they go, oh, is Bungie just greedy, or are they stupid or whatever. I don't think Bungie is greedy or stupid. I think they're doing conventional wisdom mixed with broken technology. Of course, what's that guy, Astacross?
Yep.
Yes. I think made that video saying, hey, the tech is bad, and they're going to take those planets out, and they're going to bring them back and make them better. A programmer buddy of mine, he said what it looks like is happening is it's not about storage on our end. They don't care about that. Like, I mean, who does, right? Call of Duty is 300, 400, 500 gigabytes, right? I have on my computer, I have games that are bigger than Destiny right now. I got Red Dead Redemption at like 100 something gigabytes. I got Hitman 2 at 150. Like that doesn't really matter for us. But when you build a game at home, like I have this on my computer, like I build for the Xbox that I've got here. Special, magical dev kit I'm not supposed to talk about much. When I'm building for that, like I click a button and my computer like grinds to a halt as it tries to generate all the files. And that can take a long time, right? So my buddy said what he thinks is happening is the game, they're actually running into an issue where when they try to build the game, and that means rebuilding every planet, every objective, everything, when they hit that, they hit a limit and they're not able to build the whole thing. So they're actually taking stuff out, he thinks, so that they can actually ship the game, because it won't, like it probably runs into some sort of error. And when I was
like, are you talking about literally like compile type? Like that's the time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. When you're like just getting lighting to work in a game takes forever because you have to make like you click a button and suddenly it's like, all right, let's calculate all these, all this lighting and stuff. Of course, Bungie has great lighting, and I don't have any inside knowledge into their tech. I mean, I have a little bit, but like it's not enough to say anything about. But it's like. Yeah, I could see that being an issue. The problem is, as a consumer, every MMO I play is bigger than this. But like Destiny is the smallest MMO in the world, right? Guild Wars 2, I haven't even finished the first area. It's huge. It's bigger than all of Destiny. Maybe that's not entirely true, but it's...
Oh, no, I played the continents of World of Warcraft were... I mean, yeah, they dwarf it. So, I mean... You're talking about different levels of detail and stuff, but no, just like the scale of the destinations. No, yeah, there are games that destroy this one in size. Fidelity would be a different comparison too.
I would say even objectives, right? Like I can go log into like a week of Warframe and do completely unique things every night. And Destiny can't do it. Like you log in and you're like, I'm going to do these bounties and they're going to refresh every day. And I think I counted at one point like 60 daily bounties.
Wow.
It was something absurd. Like, and that includes every planetary vendor. People you probably don't grind every day. But it was like, at what point is this game eating up too much of my life for very little reward? And I was thinking about that. I've been getting kind of bummed, Right. I'm at a point where basically nobody in my clan plays anymore. And of course, all that comes to the expiration dates on the guns.
Right. So let's get to it. Let's get right to it. So
Sure.
now give me with your clan, right? You said that they've tapered off. Like, what are the reasonings you're getting back from your hardcore clan as to why they're putting the game down? And then I see you alluded to sunsetting, which has been highly contentious at one point. Last word between me and E. But where's your stance on that also?
So everybody in the clan really started dropping off. I was on my way to PAX actually when this happened. You know, they mentioned sunsetting. That was when people really started to go, okay, we're done. The FOMO had caused a lot of people to burn out. Like, just having to push. Like, I had a friend, she got into it. She was like, oh man, I love this season. Like, this was, Destiny is an amazing game. There's so much to do. She got into it with, I almost said Dark Below.
Okay.
The latest, the big DLC, right? The last Shadowkeep.
Yep. Gotcha. Shadowkeep. Yep.
It's like 8:30 in the morning here. I'm a little tired. Yeah, so she got into it and she was like, oh my God, this is incredible. But then she wanted the seal. And so she grinded really, really hard for that. And then she found like, I'm not playing any other games. Like I have, a life and this game is eating it up. And I'm tired. Like I can't keep doing this. I did that through 3 seasons. And on this 4th season, I don't think I can do it. I'm level 40 on the season pass now. This is the first time I've been this slow. And I don't even know if I'm going to finish my season pass in time.
Wow, this is big, Doc. This is big.
Right. I mean, this is a game where I purchased everything. I mean, every special edition. I got the messenger bag in my closet. Like, I love
I think
Destiny.
I just saw that too. I was actually looking through a closet cleaning stuff up. I'm like, oh yeah, there's that Hawthorne bag sitting up there.
Yes. With the battery, the solar battery.
It fits just right. Like I love that bag, but I'm wearing my Jade Rabbit hat right now.
Oh yeah, you big Jade Rabbit. I remember. Yeah.
All my shirts, all my t-shirts are Destiny t-shirts. I love Bungie,
not today,
I love Bungie games. I mean, hey, it's Mario Day, isn't it?
It's it's Mario Day. I was literally deciding, and I was like, I had the Gambit shirt, and I was like, for one, that always goes in the green screen. 2, Mario 3D All Stars. I was like,
salute.
Absolutely. Today is the day of Mario. Like, respect to Bungie, but it's Sunshine Day. I mean, come on, what are we? I know other people are like, oh my God, that's the worst Mario, but no, for me,
Sunshine
that is
Day.
the Mario. It's the one I've played the most. It's the one I like the most because I don't know, whatever.
See, that's the one I actually never played as much. I think I played a little bit of it. I'm 100%ed Mario 64, and I missed Galaxy.
Yeah.
So but I played a little bit of Sunshine, so I'll actually be curious to ever. I want Galaxy 2 though. That's the one that is like oddly missing from this. So
yeah, I was wondering why 2's not on there. Right? It's kind of weird.
Yeah. Anyway, back to where you were. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So a lot of my friends, the FOMO started hitting them, and they started going, I can't keep up. Like, these are people who, and I've seen their patterns. Like, I play a lot of. Not only do I play a lot of these games, but I also have done, work on this kind of game. Gotcha. And I couldn't tell you what those games were, but I could probably say that, it's like 300 million people that play games I've worked on, right? It's some really, really high number.
Right.
So what I've seen is that a lot of people leave and come back, and that's okay. Like, a lot of the metrics people want, they want like consistent engagement. But what we see for most players, like healthy players and happy players, and the Diablo 3 team mentioned this, not the guys who launched it, but the guys who released the really good expansion that everybody liked.
Right.
And they said, you are going to be better off having players leave and then come back happy, like excited for the next content drop, than you are players who are miserable playing every day. Yeah. That's what they told Bungie. Bungie doesn't appear to have listened. And I think I get why. But I feel like a lot of what's happening to Destiny, a lot of what needs to change in Destiny, is they're creating burnout. And, I'm one of the first people who used the term FOMO. I think I'm the reason that FOMO was as common as it was on Reddit, because I used it once, and then like 2 weeks later,
talk your talk.
Everyone was using it. But FOMO is, we want people to play our games, right? That's why we make games. We want people to play them. and we need to keep the lights on. So we need people to be giving us money. When you go free to play, there's some anxiety there, right? But human motivation is weird. There's this book I'm reading right now. It's called Drive. It's about like human motivation. It's by a guy called Daniel Pink. And he's like, we learned about operant condition. We learned about, hey, we can, ring a bell and dogs know, food's here, right?
Right.
And we've learned a lot about psychology and how to, make people do things. But what we didn't really realize is after long enough periods of time, if play is structured, if the reward system is structured the way that it's structured, if you have entirely extrinsic motivation, which is, stuff coming from the outside, like doing your bounties so you get bounty rewards. If you're just that, what happens is play becomes work. And when play becomes work, people lose motivation. Right now, Destiny with the daily bounties, with I think daily bounties are a big one. Bounties are good. Right. I was, in that, piece that I wrote years ago about why they failed their fan base. I mentioned bounties because bounties were important. But then they brought bounties back in the worst way by bringing back, daily bounties and these, seasonal challenges and triumphs and these I want to feel special stuff.
Right.
Every time they do that, they create sort of a game where people feel like forced to play their game, and it turns into a hostage situation. And so a lot of that's what happened, right?
That's like a fair way to describe it.
He's spinning some bars right now. No, it's funny the way it's say it, but it's accurate in terms of, like you said, the FOMO, and you feel like it's a job sometimes, like you get this stuff done. But continue. I want you to expound on your point. Continue.
Well, so I mean, for me, right? Like, what would make me happy is I'd love to be able to like buy a season pass and then just do it at any time, right? You remember the record books in Destiny 1?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine Bungie just releasing one of those every quarter. You pay like $10 or 10 or $15, right? And you just get this new content, and you can get it at any point. Like, imagine me coming here like now and going and buying a season pass from like a year ago, like the Forge, right?
Right.
Season of the Forge, and I buy that and I play through it and I unlock some cosmetics and stuff. I'd do that. That would make me happy.
Okay.
Because then I could feel like, okay, I can take a break. Because right now, I'm not in the mood for any multiplayer games. I played Little Nightmares last night, Jedi Fallen Order. I'm playing some Persona 5. Like, I'm not in the mood for a big co-op game. But I can feel that itch in the back of my skull. Like, I can feel it. I know I want to come back and play some co-op, but I'm not there yet.
Not there yet. So is Beyond Light a little bit of that itch? Is Stasis, is any of that enticing you a little bit to say, you know what? Okay, come November, I might be right back in.
I don't know if it's ever going to be the same, For me, if we go way back, we're talking like Game Informer Destiny reveal cover.
Oh yeah, let's go.
They were talking about it, and they mentioned, Charlemagne's Vault, and they mentioned getting Thorn as the raid weapon from that raid that never ended up shipping, right? And it sounded amazing. But one thing I remember is they talked about weapons like they meant something. Like when you get a weapon, that weapon has something to it. And there's a podcast that they did that's no longer on their website, but somebody found it on the old Internet Archive and sent it to me. And the people at Bungie are talking about like, yeah, we want, and I remember reading this in an article somewhere, but it was like, we want the guns you get to like have a story. Like we want you to be like, okay, I got this devil and this is my devil and I'll have it. Yeah, right? Like I'll have this for the rest of, well, it wasn't devil. Yeah, it was devil.
Devils, what was it? Better Devils.
Better Devils. Yeah.
No, Better Devils is a Destiny 2 gun. This is a Destiny 1 gun.
Oh, this is Destiny
1. I'm talking
the
original Vanguard hand cannon. That was the devil because then they released the devil you don't after
right.
that. I remember
you're
that.
Absolutely right. I thought you were reiterating Luke Smith's Destiny 2 spiel around launch. That's what I thought you were doing. So
that's the thing. That's the thing. You're right though. Like you're on the right track. So they talk a lot about like the guns meaning something. And you know what? Throughout Destiny 1's life, we could bring those guns with us. Like day one we start, they show up, they release Dark Below, and people are like, this sucks, we want our guns. And they're like, okay, so House of Wolves comes along, they give us the the sort of patchwork system, as a temporary, here, let's do this, let's bring guns forward a bit. But then they completely redesign the gun system. So that means they can't really bring guns forward, but then eventually, I had this comedian I loved. I've never got that same roll. Can't remember exactly what it was, but I know I tried to get it again. I mean, Comedian is like one of the best shotguns ever in video games. And, when they brought it back for like moments of triumph, it was like, okay, Bungie's finally getting this. They understand we get this weapon, we fall in love with this weapon, and we want this weapon until the end of days.
Right.
And then throughout all of Destiny 2, that's what we had. Like, that's what they gave us. They brought in random rolls, put about 75 of those in with Forsaken, which made me really happy. And then it's been about 25 every season ever since.
Right.
And that's hard to keep up, especially if you're a game designer and you're like, I want every gun to be different.
Right.
Because like, let's say we have 150 RPM scouts, right? That's my go-to example. We have 3 elements and we have kinetic. So we have 4 elements, right? So we can make 4 150 RPM scouts. And then we have to change them by going like, okay, well, we have, 4 RPM archetypes. So then you have 16 or whatever, right?
Yep.
And so you can kind of start increasing the number of guns you get, but that's if you're obsessed with making them distinct. Me, I think guns don't necessarily need to be distinct.
Right.
Like if you give me a comedian with the exact same stats as like, Matador 64, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be happy because they look different and they feel different. Like, I mean, just visually, like in a sort of audio visual sense, like they feel different, even though they might have identical stats. They don't, obviously, but like just for sake of example.
Right.
And so for me, that's what mattered. When I play Destiny and I'm going through like trying to grind out a one particular gun and roll, I'm expecting that time investment to be respected.
Hello.
And when I spend literally like a month trying to get a gun, or in the case of my my god roll, or curated roll, I should say, Nation of Beasts, I was Sherpaing people through raids, and I started taking as payment, you have to let me do Morgath. I don't care what raid we're doing today, we're doing Morgath.
That was the payment.
And you know what? I saw maybe 25 of those guns drop for other people before I got one. I did it took over a year to get that gun.
Wow.
Damn.
Over a year from release. And I finally got my Nation of Beasts. And it made me so happy. And then a couple months later, they're like, hey, guess what? We're sunsetting your gun.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like,
that
when you
one's
put an
actually
expiration
staying
date
around.
on my gun.
I was like,
that one is
longer, but yes, I get you.
Isn't it 1360 right now? Is the cap for that one?
Yeah. So it'll be like season 14,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Yeah. But like this summer, I worked really hard on the Rasputin DLC, right? And I got this amazing. It's not like special. It's not better than say Recluse or something. But it mattered to me. This 4th times the charm Firefly SMG from that Rasputin DLC. It's just a nice little arc SMG. It feels great to use. It's got that silencer, so it sounds cool. I got this purple skin on it that makes it look great. Like, it's my gun. I love it. And it is expiring at the end of the season. And that, I spent money, like real money, paying for that season pass, right? Like, I bought that season pass so I could participate.
He might come for you with this kind of talk. Be careful.
I'm just saying.
He's over here trying to start some crap.
I'm just saying. I'm just listening to the thought process. That's all.
I gave Bungie money, and they're now saying like, oh, actually, that thing you wanted, we're not doing that anymore. And that thing that you've known Destiny for the whole time. And Luke Smith said in his piece like, oh well, people people don't wow, I'm talking like that kid in that one video where it makes no sense. He said something like, gosh, I don't remember exactly how he put it. I'm a little brain dead today. Sorry.
No,
caffeine hasn't kicked in.
It's all good, brother.
So I'll tell you another Luke Smith story that he said. He used that example of like, there are some people who got breakneck. Should I try that? Was that an advertisement?
He hit you with the focus, bro. He hit you with the focus.
Just focus.
Let's go, man.
Right?
Stay on track. You good.
Well, so he's like, hey, look, some people are using breakneck and they'll never use anything else, and that's bad. And I'm like, why is that bad? If you put hung jury in Destiny 2,
right,
that is the only gun. Well, I probably wouldn't anymore because they made scout rifles bad. But like, I love hung jury SR4. I wrote like 5,000 words on it for my personal blog. Like, I love that gun. I wrote a thing, referencing the Tenacious D song. I was like, this is the greatest and best gun in the world. I love Hung Jury SR4. It's not better than other guns. Like there are objectively higher DPS weapons, but for me, that gun was personal. It's the gun that I killed Oryx with. You know, it's the gun that I killed. I've killed the War Priest with that gun so many times. You know, and there are better guns. I know that.
But you got that personal attachment, that investment, right?
Exactly. It's the gun that when I'm having a bad day and I just need to decompress, I take that gun, I go to the Dreadnought, and I pop some heads, and it feels good because it's a Firefly gun, not a Dragonfly gun. You know, Dragonfly sucks.
Shout out to Dragonfly not being useful.
yeah. So for me, like that gun mattered, and you know, I asked in my article. I wrote an article like the season before, and I have no idea if they actually did this for me or not. It would be hilarious if they did, but I doubt it. But I was like, hey, I wish you'd bring back Hung Jury SR4 as like a little aside, and my editor let me keep that line in. Yeah. And the next season, we got Oxygen SR3 and the Drifter's gun, and both of them have the same perks. You know, they look like Hung Jury. Like one literally looks like Hung Jury. The Drifter's, I think, was the one where you get the bullets.
Watch?
I don't remember. No, not Night Watch. It's the actual scout that he has. He was selling it as the vendor role, and it had Dragonfly and triple tap. Like that was his role that season.
Okay.
And it was like, did they do this for me? This is weird. But since Scout Rifles in Destiny 2 are no longer, good, right? Like they were great season 1, amazing. And then Bungie posted that weird thing where they were like, people are trying to stay safe at weird distances.
Distant relation.
That's
chat.
They
figured it out.
That's that solar one, right?
Yeah, I just want to stop you for 1 second, and you're making some valid points. And
sorry, I'm steamrolling.
No. It's cool, bro. We get the focus back on.
It's like you're the guest. You're the guest of honor, man. That's the point.
You're the guest of honor. You're the guest. But now, all good. But here's the thing: the question, in the sake of fair, even though I am emotionally connecting with a lot of things you are saying, and this was part of my argument initially when sunsetting was announced. In the sake of fairness, what do you say to those who say, "Okay, we get it. You love Breakneck. You love these guns, you have these personal achievements and these things, these moments, these memories. However, when it comes to being able to add new guns into the game, we feel as far as power creep and we can't really make anything better." Like, what do you say when Bungie pushes back and E pushes back, on saying like, hey, like, we got to introduce new things, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, then you will just forever use it. What's your counter to that?
All right. So, try to keep me on track here. I'm going to try to make a couple points.
Put the focus on me.
One, and I'll explain this in a minute, but I'm not going to explain it right now because I'm going to try to summarize them. One, power creep isn't real.
Spicy.
I know, controversial
take.
Number two, Luke Smith said, there's these people with Breakneck, right? Mm-hmm. But you got to remember, when he was saying these people will never leave Breakneck, he said, and this is really interesting to me, he said, like the example that he used was Breakneck, the gun that had a perk at the time so broken that when you activate the perk, it reduces the gun's damage. Like the actual DPS drops. Right. So his example of this gun's so powerful, no one will ever stop using it was because it sucks. No, people worked hard for it and they loved it. There's an emotional attachment to that gun. So there's that. There's also the fact that, like I said, extrinsic rewards more powerful than intrinsic. Extrinsic rewards, I have this gun because I love it. Now I know we had like YouTubers and streamers, and they're like, oh my god, but I have to use this gun all the time. And it's like you don't have to. You're playing the game like a job, and so you're using the content to get you through the quickest, so you don't get bored. So the YouTubers want the statistically most powerful guns, right?
Of course.
That's why they were all using, was it Nameless Midnight? Was that the raid hand cannon for a while?
Nameless Midnight was the scout.
Midnight Coup.
I knew it had Midnight in the name, right? Yeah. They all used Midnight Coup for a while, then they all started using, Mountaintop when that was the thing. Like, the YouTubers all use the meta.
Right. But we've had Teddy on. Teddy would say, like, people will use the most effective, as far as whether it be DPS or whatever, to get things done. Continue.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get back to this one too, but what if there was a solution to that? Mm-hmm. So, I've said no power creep.
Yes.
I've said, what if there's a solution? I've said people need extrinsic rewards.
Right.
And then the last one for me is probably you don't need to make your guns distinct. And I know for Bungie, that's like crazy, right?
I was like, that's sacrilege for them.
Loot game?
Yeah, for them it is. But let me put it to you this way. I want a new F-Zero game, right? I know it sounds weird. We're talking about Destiny, and here I'm saying, I want Nintendo to make a new F-Zero. Captain Falcon rules, right? F-Zero GX, incredible game. Do you know why Nintendo won't make it?
Why?
They said because we can't. Something what I heard was like we haven't figured out a way to make this game like a new game unique. So I'm sitting here not getting my Captain Falcon because these guys over at Nintendo like, we need a gimmick. and like did Flood really make like Mario better? Did like the Run Around the Round Planets really make Galaxy a better Mario game? Like, I don't mind the gimmicks. The gimmicks are fine.
Right.
But you know what? Breath of the Wild isn't really a gimmicky game compared to other Zeldas. But Skyward Sword was Skyward Sword really a better game than Breath of the Wild? I don't think so. Like, Breath of the Wild is vanilla in comparison. It's kind of boring in that sense, but it's a better game. It's more fun to play, in my opinion.
Okay.
So I don't think you need to be unique necessarily. You need to have personality. So when I get a Rasputin gun that just looks cool and sounds cool, I'm happy. I don't mind if the perks are the exact same as a different gun. Now, I do realize
I was like, that's a...
Get at me.
No, but I was like, you're literally saying you like your new Rasputin gun. That's them making a distinct weapon. You're like, oh, this one's cool. This one's fitting with the season
it's
thematically.
Not distinct, though, is it? Is it distinct? Like, the model is, the sounds are. I get that. Okay, and that's what I like.
Okay,
but
then
the
how is that
aren't.
not distinct? Like, that's literally like...
So
okay,
what I'm saying
are
is...
you saying
what
perks
I mean is
versus
like...
Are you saying function versus fashion almost?
Yes, I am. I'm saying
so
literally...
Then, like, perks is one thing.
I'm literally talking about fashion.
Yeah, well, I was like, but like if you go RPMs, like fire rates, stuff like that's one thing. You've got the aesthetics, like the sounds, the looks, and those are pieces as well. So you're okay if they make new skins, new sounds, things the way they like the reload animation, all that stuff. But like the perks, just keep slapping the same ones on and you're good.
I would like to see them adding more perks, overall. Clown Cartridge came back, made my day. I had a friend, he just started playing Destiny. This is after I started slowing off on it, and he got the grenade launcher from.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
New Monarchy, right? Yeah, he got the New Monarchy grenade launcher, and he got a god roll with like full court Clown Cartridge, velocity masterwork. I was mad. I have all but one perk on mine that's perfect. Like he had everything, and it was like, oh man, this Clown Cartridge is great. Like, I'm glad they brought it back. So I love that they're adding new perks into the pool, and I don't mind if they add those to guns. But like, honestly, for me, I would be if you like, hey, here's two completely different guns, visually and audio, like in an audio way. Like, oh, this one has a silencer on it. That's not a gameplay thing in Destiny. Like, silencers don't really matter. But like, I love the Rasputin SMG, and if they gave me another SMG this season, I would track it down. Right, I would want it for my collection.
Right,
but I don't necessarily need that gun to have like a totally unique perk pool or totally unique element or whatever, because all elements are basically the same in Destiny, right? Like, they don't do anything different. It's not like hitting somebody with arc will cause it to bolt, like lightning a bunch of people. It's not like Borderlands where the acid one reduces armor. Like, they don't got anything like that. And that's the elements are just match colors. That's fine. So for me, it's like, I want a good roll, but I don't mind if the gun is just the exact same possible rolls but looks different, because I can still get a different roll on it, right? Like, I might have one that's like, okay, I want this one for crowd clear, so I want Fourth Chimes to Charm and Dragonfly, so I can just go around spraying nonstop. And then this one, though, I'm going to get a completely different thing, and it's going to be about busting shields. So I can still build the guns differently, but their base stats could be the same, and I wouldn't necessarily mind. So that's my last point, right? So let's work our way back. See if I can actually remember my points. Let's see. So I said power creep isn't real, and I know that's controversial. I get it, right? But here's the thing.
I was like, I'm waiting on this one.
Yeah, waiting.
Yeah. So Bungie said in their piece, the reason that people get new guns is because the new guns are more powerful than old guns, and I would disagree with that. I think if you take the hand cannon, Kindled Orchid, right?
Which I
go
love.
Take Kindled Orchid.
Oh, I had a god roll of that. Oh, the only one that had kill clip and rampage.
Man, it is special, right?
Special.
And you take that gun and you go into, I forget what its RPM archetype is, but if you take that into a raid right now, Garden of Salvation, you go shoot somebody with that, what's going to happen? How many headshots will it take to kill, or like, weak point shots will it take to kill a Vex at max light? It'll take 1 or 2 usually, right? Just a regular like red bar Vex. You shoot him in the weak point, he dies in 1 hit. If you get a brand new, like this season hand cannon, same archetype, brand like the latest gun of the same archetype, and you take that in to the same content at the same light level, 1 bullet still kills the guy. Power creep doesn't really exist. Like, it does exist. Don't get me wrong. It exists as a concept. Like, if everyone is using a gun that takes 1 second to kill an enemy, and then they release a new gun that's 0.8 seconds to kill an enemy, yeah, there's power creep. But when everyone is using the same gun in PvP, and they just make some other guns just as powerful, more people use more guns, but the actual time to kill doesn't change.
Well, but that doesn't sound like power creep. The part you said is like, hey, we've got a 1 second time to kill on this auto rifle. Cool. Well, okay, we got to make something more powerful. Now it's 0.8 seconds. Okay, now we make something that's 0.6 seconds. That's power creep, and that's what they're trying to not get to. So that's why I was like,
haven't. Yeah, what I'm saying is it doesn't actually exist in this game. Like, it can. Don't get me wrong. There are some guns that do have better TTKs, but we don't see that every season. When they release 20 guns every season, those guns aren't usually meaningfully different, especially in like a raid. Like, you go take, like I said, either hand cannon into a raid. The new hand cannon isn't more powerful. People aren't going, oh, I want this brand new seasonal hand cannon because it's going to make me better at raids. Because that's just light level. All they're really doing is releasing a higher light level, which is permission into content. And then
that's a whole different
power
argument.
That gear up.
That's a different argument, though. But I agree. Yeah.
Well, that's my point. Like, power level is what's actually growing in the game. Actual like effectiveness isn't changing all that much and hasn't for years.
Well, and
like,
I think
the actual efficacy of the weapons we're getting is not changing at all.
No, and I think that's
other
something
than bounce passes. My bad.
It's like that's a piece, but it's like I think and I think that's an issue Bungie has had with Destiny for a long time, is they're afraid of things being too fast. Recluse is their prime example of just breaking the game. Master of Arms just like mowing through people to a level. They're like, well, we can't make something better than Recluse in PvP because an SMG or even an auto rifle or anything at this even medium range is going to just start mowing things over and over and over and over. And if they're like, well, if we have to now top this, it's going to get down to a point where you have like half a second time to kill, and it gets ridiculous. So it's like, I think their worry is they did the Recluse, the Mountaintop, the Breakneck, and they had the Pinnacle test. Yeah, they had the Pinnacles. Then they're like, oh, now we're going to do Pursuits, or what's next? What's the one in between? Ritual. Yeah. And they're just like pulling back and back and back, and they're getting to where you're saying is like, nothing is special, which is also a problem because now you're just like, hey, let me get season 15's hand cannon out here and one shot this gun. Okay, season 18's hand cannon, just pull it out. And it's like you're just pulling the new weapon out of the season, but the hand cannon still shoots like a hand cannon. So I think.
So what if I had a solution for you?
Oh.
What if I had a solution not only for your problem, but the YouTuber problem of I got to keep using the same gun?
Okay.
Because I think I got a solution. It's a 2-part solution. Okay, the first part is, what if we used pinnacle weapons as a way of testing new perks? Like, what if we were like, okay, so this gun for this season is the only gun with Mastered Arms. And they look at the numbers and go, oh my God, Mastered Arms is too powerful. Right. So then they're like, okay, next season rolls around. Here are a bunch of new guns, and now they can drop with Mastered Arms because we've tested it.
Right.
And now we know it's too powerful. So we're changing the way Master of Arm works, but like 20 new guns get this perk. Suddenly people are like, oh, okay. It was too powerful, but now it's a thing. Or we look at Mega Neura and we go, okay, Mega Neura.
They've been kind of doing that, except I would say that they kind of shy away from the pinnacle perks that they've introduced. But I feel when I would say they've kind of did it, but they haven't truly embraced it. But continue. I'll let you finish. I got some other thoughts on this. What you're about to say.
Yeah. So I think you can go, hey, we'll make these guns a little overpowered for this season just to test them, but it also gives them their time in the sun. It lets them shine. It makes them feel special. But then everything gets moved in the pool and it starts becoming part of the normal balance pass. I think if you do that, that makes everybody happier. Not necessarily the perfect solution, but that's one way. And the second thing you do is you give every single weapon mastery. Warframe's got a system. It's called mastery. What you do in it is every single weapon has XP.
Okay.
You can take every single weapon to level 30. When you do that, that hits your account. So like if I have, I don't even know how many I have. I'm mastery level 25. That means I've done hundreds of Warframes, Warframe guns, pets. I've leveled them up to max level. When I do that, I get account buffs. So I can carry more stuff than a guy who starts day one. Like I can get more of these things that open special chests. I've got better inventory. Like I've got all these cool stuff. So imagine like being like, all right, I've got 1,000, 10,000 kills on my recluse, right?
Oh, this sounds like E with what's that pulse E that the dad bod pulse used to use. What's that one?
Really, dad bod?
Yeah, what's that one? Yes.
Oh,
you're literally talking about E's go figure. Continue.
Yeah, I had 40,000 kills.
Yes.
Damn.
Continue.
Damn.
Yes.
So imagine
he
every
qualifies
gun
for mastery.
That exactly right. Imagine every single gun in the game. Everyone has get like 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 kills. These are hypothetical numbers, right?
Yeah,
Something that you feel you could get through. But it's like imagine at X number of kills, or of course rocket launchers aren't going to kill as much as a primary because fewer ammo, right? But some sort of or unlock requirements or something. I know Call of Duty has those on some of the guns. I think Battlefield has them. And you go through this, and then it gives you unlocks, like say a skin. I paid money for skins on guns that are expiring now.
Okay. I'm seeing the vision on this part. On this part. Go ahead.
Imagine, say, 1% extra bright dust on all your bright dust bounties.
Okay.
Now, that sounds bad for like one gun, right? But imagine if, say, 20 of Destiny's 500 guns have that. Then it's 20% extra bright dust you're suddenly getting on bright dust turn-ins, right? And you could keep doing things like this. You could, say, add inventory space. Oh, when you max these guns out, you get 5 extra inventory slots. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but remember, it adds up. Once you do that, then people are going, okay, I have to bring in all of my guns, even if they're not optimal, but suddenly there's a thing to chase, and it's an extrinsic reward, or it's an extrinsic reward, not an intrinsic reward, but it gives you variety. It helps push variety without forcing you to avoid the things you love. Right. So like and that's how I found guns I loved in other games, right? Like I'd be like, oh, well, this one I got to grind up, and I'd start grinding it, and I'd be like, oh my God, I actually really like this gun. So that's how I would solve it is giving every gun mastery and bringing in like new perks, like testing new perks with pinnacles so that they all have their time to shine, but then we add it to the pool so then we get more overall variety. That's how I would solve a lot of Destiny's, supposed problems.
Yeah, it's like part of that's Destiny 1 of leveling up your weapons. So, I mean, you go back to Destiny 1 when you have the little circles, you fill them in, and then you unlock those perks. And that's one thing some people love and hate, and that's kind of a divisive thing on some. I really like the idea of mastery, like global account objectives to say, I got 10,000 kills with scout rifles.
Yes.
I get to hold more scout rifle ammo, or I got 20,000 kills with scout rifles. I have slightly higher aim assist and reload speed or something on those. Like just for classes of weapons, like I spent a lot of time with pulse rifles, obviously 44,000 kills later. That's one of those. Is like, should I have some benefits on scout? Now they're always worried about breaking the game. Are they going to let me have range? Probably not. Are they going to let me have aim assist? Probably not. But ammo reserves for like a PvE situation, just something as you feel. And as you said, like maybe I don't play SMGs that often, but if SMGs, I can play those, and maybe it's like, hey, you get like 2 more bullets in the clip. I don't know. Like there's
no, I'm with them.
But they're so worried about doing things like, again, as I say, it's like they're not going to give you range on this like pulse rifle because they're like, our sandbox is, it's not. No sandbox is ever perfect, but it's just like those long-term incentives right now would be perfect.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I would, and that's why you mentioned, or that's why I mentioned every incentive being an account incentive and not a weapon incentive. Because like I love getting more better at killing shit, right? But they would, like the point you bring up is great, right? That would break their sandbox in a way they wouldn't like. Or people would be like, well, the only reason I got beaten that firefight is because he had, slightly better range, right? You don't want that. But I mean, if somebody goes, well, hey, I got 5 more inventory slots, who's going to get mad about that? Nobody's going to get mad about that. Everybody wants, 5 more inventory slots. Like, so that's why I think that's what I would personally try to affect. But, that's me.
No, I get you. I think to double down on what you said, I love your idea of mastery. I think it's cool. I actually, at the chat, someone mentioned it as far as like Call of Duty used to do stuff like that and like almost that XP grind. And then it's more of an attachment to the weapon. And also I was thinking in conjunction, besides just like ornaments, right? Yeah. How cool when you have that unique ornament. It's like, yo, that's your vigilance wing, or that's whatever your legendary that you're using it, and you have that amount of kills, then yeah, like this is really cool. I love the idea of mastery. The problem with their thinking, not that I agree with them, I'm just how they probably gonna push back, is because they still want, the sunsetting. The sunsetting thing is just they want to remove, these guns. They want to. The problem they have is this. They talk about the power creep, but where the issue I have with them is then you can't say that and then reissue Night Watch.
No, yeah,
you can't say that and then reissue Knowing Hunger.
That's what I'm saying.
I have kept my vault the exact way it is for the reason I have 4 Night Watches, 2 from now and 2 from old. They're identical, and every time I looked at that, I'm a reminder. I'm like, you better not do this crap later on.
And that's what I mean. Power creep. When I say power creep isn't real, I mean literally it is just the number. And the reason they're doing it, like they'll tell us, it's power creep, and they'll tell us the way
you're like power creep in and of itself. Like when we described it earlier, I would say that's real. Like the way they have implemented like our feeling of powerful. Like our guardians don't ever feel powerful. I can go into a basic strike, still die, even though it's recommended power 750. I'm level 1060. And that's the difference of like us never feeling powerful in itself, but power creep, as they describe it on weapons, can get to a real thing. But I totally agree that we as guardians, I can go around and patrol. I should stomp everything by nearly sneezing on it.
Facts.
Like,
I agree.
Maybe I should have said that.
I was like different word choice.
Does exist.
Yeah.
When they say that power creep is the problem, when they justify it, I don't think that's why we're getting new weapons. And Cognito, your example, right, of Night Watch, perfect example, right?
Right.
It's clearly not true, right? Their reasoning is this: we're going to release new content every season,
right? And
we need people to want to get the new guns,
right?
And if you look at their patch notes, I'm talking from the beginning of Destiny. Like, remember when they took out trip mines? Like hunters were like, we only use trip mines because all the other grenades suck. Bungie was like, they only use trip mines, so trip mines must be strong. Every patch note you ever see, when Bungie nerfed something, it was, you use this a lot, and so it must be too powerful, it must be too good. They never actually looked into why. Like, sniper rifles, they use the exact same reasoning for nerfing sniper rifles from the 20% buff. Like, no one's using sniper rifles. Let's give them a 20% buff. A season later, let's take that away. It's like, well, that's going to go right back to nobody's using it, right?
Yep.
But they use that exact same, like, people are just using it to stay at a safe distance, which no one was.
Did we lose him?
But
Oh, he's back.
They use it.
Did
I disappear?
No.
You just cut out for a second.
But
this is why we have the Audacity recording. It's going to sound better later.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry. I hope it isn't my mic being
no.
wireless.
That's Discord.
Okay. Well, they use the exact same reason on why they wanted to make scout rifles bad, which is players are using them a lot, so it must be that players are trying to stay safe. Every time it was like we assumed that the only reason people want things is they're strong. But when we look at why people want things, they want breakneck even if it sucks, even if the perk makes it worse, because they like breakneck. So Bungie's entire thing, their entire motivation, every patch note I've ever seen from them for nerfing stuff is the only reason people use stuff is it's strong. And that's not why people use stuff. People use stuff because they like it. It's the fashion thing that we talked about earlier, right?
But it is strong. So, come on, Doc. It is
not
like
come on, Doc. Okay, so breakneck.
Some of these guns be strong.
I was
Doc.
like, yeah, if you get breakneck to 3x, like, believe me, that still melts. It's not. It's not a bad weapon. It was good at the time.
I half agree with you on that one.
It was great, and then they brought it down for a bit. But now that they brought assault rifles back up, it's a little better. Like, it's part of the balancing game. Yeah. And I get not wanting to balance every single gun all the time. But if they stop worrying about making all the guns unique, and they stop thinking the only reason people want guns is because they're because of strength. If they think people want guns because they want the gun that works for them, the gun that makes them the happiest. Some people still play Pikachu and Pokemon, right? He ain't the strongest. I don't keep playing Charizard because he's better than Rayquaza. I play Charizard because I like him. Because he looks cool. Okay. But Destiny and Pokemon are the same game. They really are. Like, Destiny guns are Pokemon. They're not Diablo loot. In Diablo, it's like this sword just looks kind of different, but it's the stats.
That's a good point. Now you get back with me now. Okay, guns, I'm with you with the Pokemon one. I like this. Continue.
Yeah. Guns have character. They're personalities that fit in our screen, right? They matter to us. We have our favorites regardless of power. Mm-hmm. They're like, Diablo weapons aren't really characters. They're like really tiny pixels on the screen that, I get this axe. Oh, it's cool. Then I get an axe with better stats. All right, that's cool. We have that in Diablo, but Destiny isn't Diablo. Destiny's never been Diablo because Bungie makes shooters and the stats have to stay the same. So, because that's how that makes it good combat feel. Like, if you want a game where weapons are disposable, you can play The Division. Guess what? Nobody plays The Division as much as Destiny.
That's true.
They love Destiny. They love Division, and I'm coming back. I'm coming back for the Mega Dungeon. I'm so excited for the 100-floor Mega Dungeon that's coming, right? But I'll be real with you. I don't have a single gun that I love in The Division. Like, I don't have a gun that's like, I'm keeping this forever.
Factual. Get him, Neo. So this is the point. That's where people were fighting me. I hate to cut you. With the Sunset, that's what I was saying. I was like, you can't use these apple-to-apple comparisons because, like you said, it was like these guns are like Pokemon. These are these rare attachments where you play these other games. Those type of weapons and armor don't have that type of association. It's more of a generic thing that, you may have stats and numbers in Division. You know what I'm saying? You may have, those other exotics in Division, but they don't have that same feeling, right? And the proof is in the pudding. How is it, and even E could agree with me on this part, you know what I'm saying, when we comparing that game to this, is that how is it they'll have a raid or they'll have these things, but the player base doesn't stay. At some point, the player base leaves, and then it doesn't recover, and then Destiny is still here. There's something intrinsically still appealing that makes Destiny addictive. And people can say, yes, the gunplay. People can say, the fact that you have space magic and monsters, and as opposed to shooting a dude with a hoodie 55 times, or, you know what I'm saying? That you can make that argument, right? Obviously, right? But the reality is, these guns, I'm using your thing, the Pokemon, they're rare. They're in trend. They're so unique. The way they design, the things they do, the sound. You know what I'm saying? And then you put this work. You have moments associated to when you got this, right? That's what makes poor Neo Mental. He's a Destiny Division fan. He's like, I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. But that's why, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I tell people you can't use that one-to-one comparison to other looter shooters and say, they just have to adopt what these other shooters are doing, because that's the uniqueness of Destiny. That's all my point.
Yep, and I'm 100% with you. I will say, Division has pretty much perfect combat. Like, as a third-person shooter, it is one of the best. It feels intense. The levels are really well done. Like, I love that game, and that's why I'm coming back for that dungeon. Yeah. But I'm not going to come back for that dungeon the way that I did, a year's worth of Morgoth encounters, right? Right. Morgoth never got old to me. I love that encounter. I mean, I'd probably never do it again because I finally got my Nation of Beasts, but I've done hundreds of Morgoth, it feels like, thousands, millions, who knows, because I wanted Nation of Beasts. And now I got Nation of Beasts, and that's my gun. And then they're like, we're putting an expiration date on it. It's like, why did I do this? Why do I play this game? Why do I give it my time if it's gonna say, oh, and now there's an expiration date? Like, it's I'm not gonna say like they came out and promised this to us. They never said, well, actually they did. They actually did. They said when Dark Below came out, I have this note somewhere. I wish that I had this screenshot. It's been about
5.5 years, so things can change.
Yeah, things can change. But they basically said, we hear you and we understand that you don't want to lose your weapons. Like, these weapons mean something to you. Like, I have the logs, or not the logs, but I took a screenshot, but it's on the computer in the other room, so I'm not gonna go get it. But
that's cool.
It's like, we Yeah, I got to replace the battery. It sucks. So it's kind of dead right now. But it's like
Good,
we want to make sure that these guns stick with you. And the initial promise of Destiny, like all that, that's why I come to this series. And so if that changes, right? If that changes, why do I keep coming back? Like if I'm, if I love, I don't know, if I love, say Forza Horizon, right? Racing game that's all about festivals and having a good time, and then they turn it into like a top-down, top-down, like isometric racing type game, and it's hey, play from this angle. Like it changes genre, it turns into a turn-based racing game somehow.
That's extreme, but I understand your general point.
I mean, to make an example, you got to be extreme, right? But if they take away the thing that I love about doing it, which is zooming over these hills and gliding through the air as the music hits just right. If they take that away, then why do I keep buying games in the series, right?
Right.
If Dragon Age suddenly doesn't have,
dragons
RPG stuff, Dragons is a great, I remember hearing that they weren't sure they could actually get dragons in the first game because there were issues making them, but they got them in. I don't know if that's true, but like, I don't know if they had many in Dragon Age 2, but that was a bad game. But I didn't like Dragon Age 2. Like, I played the first game and I was like, this is what I love about the game is all these things. And then they took it out in Dragon Age 2. I don't like that game. I've only played it once. And I played the first game until Destiny came along. Dragon Age Origins was my most played video game of all time.
Oh. No, I get it. And these are... Okay, I'll let you finish.
You go.
I thought you were about to say something.
What's my reason to stay? That's all I'm asking. What's my reason to stay?
Valid points. And this is definitely, this is the risk they run with a subset of the base.
Risk run.
I like that, right? Those are bars. So it's like, when they do that, it's just like, okay, they have to understand this is not going to hit well with everyone, right? And that some people are going to say, nah, I'm out. I'm not doing that. You're not going to take that away from me or whatever. I think for me, look, I can sit here and tell them blue in the face and say, if they do this, they do that. I've been through all this. They gonna call my bluff. Like I still love I'm trying to think of a scenario that they could do that I'm just like, okay, y'all wilding out. I'm not. No, you know what I'm saying. And I've had moments. I think the beginning of Division Destiny 2 at the vanilla stage, right when it first came, very casualized. That was my foot down. I'm like, nope. I'm not doing this. Y'all having Hawthorne give away raid guns. Yeah, Trials of Osiris a mess, the double primaries. I was not in. And they weren't even sixes at that time. Yeah. We had ability, everything was go slow.
Yep.
And exotics were, we're going to make 10% of your recharge rate of the abilities probably how they should have been. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's an exotic armor. You rock that and you get 10% more recharge rate. And nah, fam, we're not doing that. So that's when I put my foot down and I said, okay, cool. So my point is to say this, and I'm just I have to ask you this question because there's another debate. You touched the sunset thing. The other thing was not really a debate, just a fun thing. Like, we put a poll up, which was like, okay, D1 versus D2. Now, surprisingly, this thing, the amount of votes this thing got was insane. I got everybody in the community in. And it finished tight. It was D2 winning. I believe it was fix your face, E. Fix your face. I see you smirking. Stop it.
I'm literally 52. Looking at my phone. Sorry. You're just trying to make shit happen. That's not there.
I'm making it happen. I'm making it happen. So 52% to like, I don't know, 48 or whatever. Right. So my question to you, where do you stand with that? Like, was D2 the better overall game? Because the argument people say like, well, D2 refine things. You know what I'm saying? And the quality of life, everything's better, and there's still better moments overall. And then the D1, the hardcore was like, no, I felt this was way better, more hardcore game. Like, where do you stand right now? Because now, the reason why I put the question up, we are now in the equal amount of years of existence of both now. D2 now has that amount in. So we're both about the 3-year mark. So now a total 6 total. Right. So where do you stand with that?
So if we kind of list things out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Destiny 1 has better level design. It's got better encounter design. It's got better skyboxes. Like I can just go to Cosmodrome and just look at the sky.
Wow.
I
might have gave D2 the skyboxes. I might have gave to shout out to 900. I might have gave 2 D2, but I'm gonna let you rock.
I was like,
I'm gonna let you rock. I'm gonna let you
Skyboxes aren't a reason, right, to love a game. They're great, but okay. So Destiny 1, it also has Hung Jury. It's got Firefly that rocks. It's got, I can go into the Dreadnought and I can take a yellow bar wizard down in like 4 shots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In Destiny 2, if I take a scout rifle to take a yellow bar wizard, I will run out of ammo before I kill it,
Factual.
So that to me is a bit of a problem, right?
Uh-huh.
So Destiny 1 I feel has like a better weapon sandbox. It drops legendaries at a rate that makes me happier. It has environments that I like more. I think Venus is my number 1 favorite planet in all of Bungie history. It's my favorite location ever. Well, I say that, but I think Savo Highway and Halo 3 might be the best one they ever did.
Keep focused. Keep it D2. Keep it dusty.
but on Destiny, I think Venus is their best planet, right? Vault of Glass, in my opinion, still the best raid.
We're here.
Like I love Scourge of the Past. Scourge of the Past is basically perfect.
Wow.
But Vault of Glass, yeah, I love Scourge.
Wow.
Every time we go in
I've never heard a Scourge guy.
Every time we go in that raid, I love to trick people into going the wrong way with the speeder chase.
Okay.
I love to be like, anytime I'm teaching somebody, I'm like, hey, so we're all going to just race through this door. Ready? And then we kill him. And they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, so now you know the lesson. Don't go that way. He will kill you. And then we go on. And everybody seems to have a good time. Like nobody ever seems to get pissed. But we always run raids 4-2, like 4 experienced players, 2 inexperienced. Mm-hmm. So anytime we need to pick up the slack, we got enough.
Gotcha.
So we can make it through. And as a result, we've had fun teaching people. But, so there's a lot to love about Destiny 1. If you put Destiny 1 on PC, I would be playing it still, even though there's no new content for it, right? It also had, Sparrow races. It had, so there's so much that it has that I love.
Gotcha.
Not just the art design, but like it has better weapon sandbox, in my opinion, just like Scout Rifles specifically, hit better. Obviously they changed, like if you said Destiny right now, what has like better PvP? Destiny 2, just because Destiny 1 ended with that awful special weapon nerf.
Oh, yeah. Remember that?
That ruined it. Yeah. That ruined it. But I think Destiny was less afraid to, be fast and hard, right? Like it 25-second grenade recharge if you max your stuff out. That's way better than what Destiny 2 has done for a while, right? So there's a lot to love about Destiny 1. But Destiny 2 it's on PC. It runs 60 frames a second. It's got mantling, so when I jump,
look at you, comes back to
life.
Look at
I can mantle stuff. Like it's got.
I'm just loving his like bullet points. These are hilarious. They all are.
They brought machine guns back, and the machine guns they fuck, but they're taking away Hammerhead, so I don't give a shit anymore. Like my favorite machine gun in all Destiny was the first year Dead Orbit machine gun. Which hit like I don't remember the name, but it was Deviant Gravity A, I think. But it hit about like Hammerhead. It was one of those slower firing, like like it felt great, right? But for me, I would say Destiny 2 feels better to play in the moment, right? Unless you're using scout rifles. Just run around popping people in the heads, watching their souls get ripped out of their bodies.
For the scout.
He's going in on scout. He's going in on scout.
Yeah. I'm sorry. But you shoot like a fallen in the head, right? And you can see his soul getting torn out of his body. You don't see that in Destiny 1.
Okay, so gun to your head. What is it? Sound like you're now edging D2 now,
right? Well, that's kind of
trying
to keep you on edge. I think ultimately, at the end of the day, which game has Bones of EO?
Oh my God.
It's Destiny 1 because I got quad jump. It's Destiny 1 because I got quad jump. Yep. I think, and they're gonna bring Vault of Glass back in Destiny 2. Back to tip the scales
we
back.
Gotta talk about that. Yeah, we gotta talk about it.
But they said something about maybe bringing champions in. If they put champions in, then Destiny 1 wins like by default.
Come on. All right, hold on. I gotta stop you. I know we off track and we gotta get into this 12. But
sorry.
I gotta stop you for a second. Listen, so champions would disqualify Vault if we come in with all. Dude, think about this. We didn't have wells of radiance. We didn't have any of this craziness, and now we're bringing stasis into.
You can't put stasis in this argument.
Vaulted Glass isn't gonna have a chance. Like that's what they gotta do something. Like, we are going to mop Atheon up. It's going to be disgusting. Continue.
I feel that, and I respect it. But champions, here's the thing. What I love about Destiny is being able to bring in what I want to bring in that makes me happy, right?
Okay.
When I do, like, I remember people being like, you have to have Yallarhorn. I have Yallarhorn.
Mm-hmm.
I would go in there with Sleeper, and I would mop up. Like, I would kill everyone with Sleeper, because Sleeper is my baby. And I can out-damage. I can out-damage everyone on my team with a Sleeper just sitting in the back of the room while they're like, dipping in and out in the bubble, shooting Yallarhorn. I'd be like, I beat you on damage. Yep. Exactly.
DPS was crazy. Continue.
It's also better in Destiny 1 than Destiny 2, like Sleeper's iteration.
Yeah. They disrespected Sleeper in D2. Continue.
Yep. I never got the was never able to get the catalyst, which made me sad.
I'm still working on it. Continue.
But, for me it's like I like being able to bring in what I like. And so when every season they're like, oh, now you have to level up, and then you get, this mod, so you have to use SMGs against, One of the reasons I'm using Recluse still, I mean, I finally got the Rasputin gun, but one of the reasons I was still using Recluse was I could put mods on it that I needed to break down barrier champions. I don't like barrier champions that much. If they had mods that were like utility mods, or if they had champions that weren't, you can't, hurt this guy, like they weren't annoying, probably have fun. Like, what if they had a guy who came in and like just gave everybody around him overshields? They do technically, I guess, with the orb dudes. Yeah. Right?
Oh, the servitor? That's like just an enemy. Yeah. But like, no, believe me, I could go deep on the champions being, they're not fun. They're frustrating to play against because for one, it's like you got to run the double primaries to fight both types. Unless, because you don't have a choice. Therefore, it limits your loadouts. They still haven't fixed the exotic thing, except they finally had a seasonal mod in there where you're like, I could use pulse rifles for a first. But no, champions for me have been... And again, you watch people in, like, the barrier. It's like the way they fight them in, like, Grandmaster Nightfalls. You watch people playing those things. I get that people have figured out how... But sitting back and going, pew, pew, pew. Okay, make sure the shield's down. Like, move the shield. And it's like, wait for it to get back up. Keep the damage up. Like, the way the champions function, like you said, it's like, hey, have somebody come in and he has this, like, overshield buff. And you got to take him out before anybody else can die. And it disrupts combat. It doesn't make it to where it's just, like, kind of to the point of... It sucks the fun out of it. I can understand the disruption of like, hey, a champion walks on the scene. Oh crap, he's the big focus. We got to take him out, right? Well, I can't even touch him right now. What that? Like that always kind of sucks the wind out of it. So
there was a point where me and my squad, when we go into those high tier nightfalls, it was like, yeah, you have divinity and you guys have the one gun that just fucks them up completely, right?
Yeah.
That, and I love Izanagi. I was one of the early adopters. I love that gun. I'm sad they nerfed it because the gun feel is the best any sniper's ever been in my opinion in Destiny.
Izzy, like, honed edge. Beautiful.
It's my second favorite sniper rifle in all Destiny history, right? There's only one sniper rifle that's better, and it's not in Destiny 2.
I already know what it is.
It's my first exotic ever.
Oh, I got it wrong.
Icebreaker?
I thought you were going to say LDO.
Yep. It's Icebreaker.
You're the Icebreaker guy. He's the sandbox breaking guy. Look at you.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't think Icebreaker's actually that bad. You have to wait, 8 seconds a shot for every single shot. Like, I never thought it was that bad. It just, I love the way it looked. I love the way it felt.
It's cool.
And I love the fact that it had Firefly on it.
Absolutely. Very cool.
It was a salt, like, it felt good. Yeah. And I don't really think considering how often green ammo dropped, especially before the special weapon nerf, I thought it was a great gun. Right. But, that's me. I love and it's also my first exotic, so I have to love it, right?
Of course. We got that affinity with, not to cut you down. We got to get, because I even realized we didn't get the 12 going. We got to get the 12 popping. But I'm glad you made that point because, at the end of the day, these were the things that you've missed out on. And I just wanted to, I'm glad you gave me your feedback in reference to the D2 versus D1 and obviously the sunsetting thing. Tremendous points of contention and many a battle was fought on the battlefield here.
Well, I mean, we got to keep things interesting, right?
Exactly,
right?
Of course,
if we all agree to be boring.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we do. But I got to give it back to E. What's going on this week?
Oh, besides the PS5 launched, pre-orders dropped, RTX 3080 sold out in seconds. Bots are probably going to destroy the pre-orders for Xbox next week. Everybody knows when that one's coming. So it's an organized launch, but I'll be like, it is crazy in the world of gaming right now. And then Bungie's like, oh, by the way, we still have ghosts we got to mess with. So, well, obviously we got the Traveler's Chosen, been messing around with that. It's kind of fun. It's got potential. I've seen some really cool people do some cool builds with that one, but we finally get some love to ghosts. How long overdue has this been? Like, they're just this like thing taking up space, kind of crappy perks. If you don't have guiding light on yours, you're basically just doing it wrong. I mean, that's basically what they're for. Hey, bonus XP, cool. Like, I don't really care too much about anything else. Like the what is it? The chest perk is nice.
What about instant summon?
Well, that's the other one. Those are the three you need. You need instant summon and guiding light. And then if you have the planetary chest,
the planetary one,
if you have that for where you're going, I have the moon ghost, the lunar ghost or whatever, lunar shell. That literally has those two, and then if you just pull from collections, I have one for every planet. So that's literally the ghost I've only used for a year. So haven't touched them. Finally, they're getting an update. They basically said ghosts haven't received any meaningful updates, and they haven't really had anything for us to do with them. So finally, we get some stuff. So in Beyond Light, ghosts have received a system update, which shares some functionality to what was done with armor in Shadowkeep. So ghost shells will now have energy levels and access to mods with various energy costs instead of being preloaded with specific perks. The treatment has been applied to all ghosts outside of the generalist shell, which I don't remember what that one is.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It's the very first. It's the Destiny 1 shell.
Okay, it's just the base. I figured it was like some basic like starter.
Yeah, just the orange and white guy.
Okay. So you can use your
white with orange highlights, but yeah.
Yeah, so you can use your favorite ghost shell regardless of the tier, whether it be exotic or legendary, it doesn't matter. Selection of mods will be available on all ghosts by default, while the remaining ones will be obtained via various gameplay sources. Key factor right there we'll touch on for sure. Information where they can be found will be learned in collection, so go to collection as soon as you log in. We'll figure out where those come from. Ghost mods will be obtained from gameplay reward loops and will not be purchasable from Eververse. Big giant round of applause there. Ghosts now have 4 mod slots. 3 are unlocked by default. The 4th is unlocked by masterworking. Now, the 4 slots are an experience mod slot, tracking mod slot, an economic mod slot, and then an activity mod slot, which is unlocked when you masterwork. By looking into it, that one's actually going to be kind of awesome. They go through a couple different examples. They say a couple ghosts, like the Kill Tracker Ghost and the Leviathan Boss Kill perks, will remain intrinsic, so there's a couple that may have 1 or 2 locked, but most of them you're going to be able to pick what you want. They go down into a couple of pictures, which I can't show, but basically they show you've got your experience ones, and they show, like, say, for the experience track, okay, you've got level 1 through 6, and each one seems to match with its energy cost, and, like, say the Blinding Light, which is the experience ghost mod, it increases the XP gains by 12%, so my guess is it's 2% per level. And then it also says this mod is fragile and will expire at the end of Season 15. So I know there's a lot to unpack there. First big overall takes from you guys. Are you guys excited about ghost mods?
Get our guest?
Well, yesterday I was talking with some of my old clanmates about this. Well, none of us were playing Destiny.
And ghost mods coming right back. Let's go.
Shots.
And they all said if Destiny was in a place where they were happy with it, this would be huge. This would be the best thing ever. Except for that part about expiring mods.
We're going to get to that. That's a point of contention for the whole season.
So because, we talked about, like, guns or Pokemon, right? One thing that Bungie has a problem with is they, how do I put this in a way that makes sense? Not to y'all, but to me. How do I make myself say this and not sound crazy? Bungie's a problem with drops, right? We jump into a game, we run through a strike, and we get blues, and we're like, why? The 2 tokens in a blue problem, right?
2 tokens in a blue.
Why is that? Like, what's the fun of that? Like, why are we grinding this over and over? And I get that you need to play content, and it needs to be useless at times. Like, you can't always have good stuff, or it gets boring. But, like, because you need that anticipation, right? You need that build-up. Will this be good, right? So you have to have bad loot in there for it to be good. Right. But they just need more stuff to drop. They need more, like, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to do this. I mean, I talked about this a while ago. Like, you need that directed chase. I would love to have been able to, like, go to Titan and any content, whether it's Gambit map, whether it's just doing patrols, you always get stuff that's associated specifically with Titan. So it sounds like bringing the ghost mods in means maybe, we'll be able to, like, do a strike, and in strikes we get these mods. Do Crucible and we get these mods. And
but
that
they did mention activity kind of mods for these ghosts. Yeah.
So that's encouraging. Like the idea of being able to target, like this evening, this is what I want to play. I don't want to do everything. I just, for a couple hours, I'm going to play this. Yep. Tomorrow, I'm going to do that. Once you start doing that, that's where Destiny 1 really excelled, was every night was different. And I didn't feel like I had to go to every planet and every vendor and, 60 bounties, right? If we can get that back in Destiny by making the loot chase a little bit more directed, more specific, I think that's really exciting. Okay. But that's me.
Okay. No, I hear you. I mean, definitely some valid points there. I mean, for me, this was a pleasant surprise. I didn't expect them to do anything with Ghosts. I mean, to be honest, Ghosts wasn't even on my mind. Let's just call it what it was. Like, that's the last thing I was thinking about. But yeah, I mean, to give them utility, give them some specific functionality. I like that they're adding the energy system to it. I like that there's going to be choice. You know what I mean? One thing that excites me is the fact that I don't have to carry like 8 ghosts on me just to switch which planet I'm on. Am I on Titan? Damn, let me get the cash resource. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So now, and then let's be real too. Like, some of those ghosts look aesthetically cool and they got whack perks.
Oh,
and you're just like,
I'm like, nope, not going to use that one.
Not going to use it. So it's just like, that part is cool. I like the fact that I think they mentioned, as far as the contender shell stuff, with the unique, the ones that have those super unique stuff, like
the
that one was
couple that
specific.
do their stand, correct?
Right, to the Leviathan raid, you know what I'm saying? So that's cool. I mean, again, pleasant surprise. I do agree with Doc. I don't know how I feel about expiring mods on it. Like, I don't know where I'm at with that.
That's like you're getting to my topic, but we'll get there in a second.
Yeah. I'll let you get it. I'll let you rock. I mean, overall, I like the decision making. I think also, to expound on Doc's point, there's days when I jump into Destiny, I'm like, look, Iron Banner's here. Right? I'm just using an example. I'm going to run the Saladin. I'm going to grab all his pinnacles, right? Then I'm going to run the Shacks. I'm going to grab all the Shacks joints. And let's say Trials is there that say week 2. Then I'm going to grab all the, Safe 14s. I can now get that Ghost Shell and that perk and say, yo, Crucible drops. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get X, Y, and Z. And the thing that I really liked was that one that said, better chance of enhancement prisms.
Yep.
Better, like I want to see a golf ball one.
There won't be that.
They got to do something about it. We got a golf ball problem
for
right
sure.
now.
But the enhancement prisms you can use to buy the golf balls. So if you can farm. Facts. So it's like, that's, I think, probably their
I just hate that there's really no source for the golf ball.
No, I know.
It looks like it's pushing us into activities, though. Like that's a good mod then. Because it means you can log on for the evening and just go farming prisms. That's good. That's what we want.
You can do it in Gambit. You can do it in Strikes. You can do it in Crucible. You can do it in all of them.
Right. And there are days in Destiny, all of us, the hardcore in here, where you're going to set your mind to just Strikes today or just Gambit today. And now you can effectively farm and get benefit. I like that. That's big. Now, I'm going to let E go because I know where he going. But the other part I was going to say, so I'm going to let him have that one. So, go take it away.
No, it's like me first. I like the choice. So you're like, hey, I'm working on leveling up. Got my season pass up. I'm going through. Cool. All right, I'm decently through the season. I'm season rank 150. Let me lower my XP buff down. Let me crank up my chance to get enhancement prisms. It's heavyweight. It's Void Singe in the Vanguard Strike playlist. I'm loving this today. My machine gun's smashing everything. Cool. I'm going to go bust up Strikes for a while, and I get a chance at these prisms in just the Strike playlist, this match made. It's not like, it's not killer Nightfalls or crazy in-game stuff, and it's a chance to get some currencies. This is like, that was the biggest thing for me on a positive, was the fact that something like enhancement prisms is farmable in an activity that you don't have to pull your teeth out on. So that was big. And then somebody was saying, like, that's worth 6 energy. And the one next to it for, say, Vanguard looks like it's 4 energy, having a similar symbol. Somebody's like, that one's probably enhancement course.
Yes.
For the 4. There's nothing higher than 6 for prisms, so I don't think golf balls are going to be in here. Just thinking it's... I know. It's looking like it. You'll be able to buy them, though. That's like...
True.
That's,
I mean, yeah.
Like, so if you get 10, you can go buy, and if you can just farm them. And now the key is the drop rate. If it's like, it's a chance, and I'm like... Dude, I've done 20 strikes and I've got 0. It can't totally suck, because if it's going to cost me 6 energy on my Ghost Shell and I'm giving up experience on the other side to do this, it can't completely suck. So I will be curious the drop rate. They have other things on there. One of them looks like the little helmet, which looking through
Yeah,
the
what's
season
that?
pass,
Yeah.
I would assume it's seasonal gear drops. The same way, like, hey, when you play Crucible matches, you get a higher chance at seasonal gear drops. Same way the season pass work, it's the same icon. I went to actually go check the season pass.
Oh, damn, nice.
So you've got that. The little triangle might be like a seasonal currency, possibly. Like you can get that more frequently during whatever activities. Now, there's the one that's 6 and 4 that's like probably enhancement prisms, enhancement cores. There's another one that's 4 with another like prickly boundary around it. I don't know what that one is. I couldn't figure out what that one's going to be specifically. Because we have Vanguard tokens, we have Crucible tokens. We don't have Gambit tokens per se. Maybe it's a way to get like higher rank in those. Like if you have like the seasonal vendor rank or anything like that. That could
because
be.
there's a ghost that I have now that's like a Gambit. I call it the Gambit ghost. It gives you percentage of experience specifically in that mode.
So it could be just like, hey, this is like Vanguard doesn't really have that as much, but Crucible specifically is one I was thinking of. So maybe they're changing like Infamy. More way to earn extra Infamy is somewhere probably buried in all of this. Now, the big giant asterisk and question mark was, and this is kind of how it made me think of the entirety of year 4. The mod is fragile and will expire at the end of season 15. I'm like, okay, so first questions. 1, it also shows that on blinding light. So what is the experience like? Maybe 1 through 3 or 4? Those might be like, because some mods are going to be permanent, period.
Right.
There's going to be some that we earn. So like you go into some activity and say maybe you beat the new dungeon and that's how you get the 5 or the 6.
Right.
And they send you, and you have those for the whole year. I'm like, okay, but here's the issue with mods that last for a year. Mods that you like, if you're going to earn mods in season 15 that last for like a whole 3 months, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's
so
a
then
problem.
they're going to have to front load most of it to be like, hey, there's 20 mods in season 12. There's like 8 in season 13. There's like 3 in season 14. Maybe there's 1 in season 15 for this last little hoorah. Because then all the year 4 mods go at the same time.
Facts.
Is the way they explained all that. So I'm like,
Facts.
So you're going to give me everything at the start, and then later on the mods aren't going to like, or you're not going to, there's no incentive to do 20 new mods in season 15 when they go in. Like potentially
unless
2.5 months, especially if the seasons are a little shorter, to squeeze them all in. Every season has to be about 10 weeks instead of 12 weeks. So they're all going to have to be shorter to fit them in.
So question, do we need new mods every single season?
No, it seems like it would be more of a yearly basis, like an annual thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think. That's what would make me happy. I think about like a lot of other service-based games, and they don't. Bungie tries to add something for everything every single season, and it's like, I wouldn't mind waiting a little bit. Like, Warframe's like, hey, here's a planet, here's a bunch of new systems, do that, and then they do a completely different expansion for a completely different game mode, and we play that for a while. And then like, okay, here's a new planet, and they pace things a bit. Destiny. I get the season model, but I wonder if it's a death march for the devs. It seems like it's really hard to keep that pace
like,
up.
I mean, this is a whole different can of worms because you talk about like season pass. Well, it's like even, I mean, we've said that too. It's like maybe it's like 2 more seasons instead of 3 more seasons. Like some way to make it, to break it up, or it's like, do you do like the 6-month like injection of content so people don't feel like they live in it, where you dump it all once? You do a big mid-season update, and then, you could do a couple live events in there. I don't know how many stories they're trying to tell. Is that why they're doing seasons where it's like little 3, like a consecutive, like this year's narrative has been kind of cool. Some have been very disjointed, but they're working on connecting them, and it seems to be getting better. So it's like, is it the pacing of the story that it needs to be 3 months? Is 6 months too long? Right. That's a whole different discussion, because believe me, we've beaten that one to death before too.
Yeah. No, I'm the main reason I'm asking was just like, I wonder if the temporary mods do exist to, like you were saying, be able to basically just go, hey, we have some new mods to add, but we don't have to worry about breaking ghosts, because that might just be a way for them to test what mods could be permanent later. Might be why they're doing it.
I think a lot of it comes down to testing sandbox stuff and then seeing kind of like what breaks stuff. And also I think they could apply an opposite approach, which I'm not necessarily going to agree with, but they could also do something like introduce more powerful ones towards the end. So then it's like, okay, if it really breaks it, then they only get it for 2 months, a month or whatever it is, 2 months, and then it goes back away. But yeah, I mean, this is That's the only question. You know what I'm saying? How are they going to handle, this whole expiration of the mod thing? Because again, what we said with Sunset, sometimes it does not feel good sometimes to regrind things you've already had. And that's something they're going to have to contend with. So they're going to have to be very creative in this regard, kind of thing. But overall, yes, I do like the fact that, they're applying the energy system there, that, we can now have multiple things within it, you know what I'm saying? So I don't have to, if I got that ghost that got the speed demon sparrow, spawn, I could use that in conjunction with XP thing or an activity thing, and whether it be cash resources or treasure searching and stuff like that. I like being able to mix and match and have the combination I want for my play style for that day. So
yeah, and the fact that you only probably have to get one ghost, like, hey, this one looks cool. This may be the one I use for the year. Right. You need to level up one ghost. You can move it between your characters, and maybe you do 3 just so you don't have to. But like, this is not like, hey, a seasonal armor. Like, there's no power level. This is just going to be with you. There's no infusion ending. As long as this system stays around for a while, your ghost is going to function. Mods are just going to come and go and be earned. So, like, generally, I'm excited about the idea of, for one, ghosts not being mostly useless.
Yep.
Oh, I mean, but also the customizer. Hey, I want more XP. Hey, I want to farm stuff. Pick, do your choose 10 system from Call of Duty and be like, I'm going for 10. My prisms. Instead, I want XP right now. Oh, crap, I'm low on Glimmer. Let's go max Glimmer. Let me go just farm some strikes, Glimmer it up. Okay, we're back. I'm good.
Yep.
So,
literally to pick 10.
Yeah, I mean, I'm most excited about the prisms. Just, I'm really, really oddly wondering about the Season 15 fragility of mods to be like, how are they going to release the mods that potentially all work within a year? If season 15 is like, we out of here in 3 months, like, who's going to grind for it if you know it's gone that short?
Yeah.
Because weapons and armor, they have that year, but they were like, hey, seasonal mods are going to be year long.
Right.
I have a question, but I worry if I ask it, we'll get back into the debate about expiration.
Just ask it. Just ask it. You have to ask it now.
Shards? Why grind shards if you're going to masterwork gear that's going to expire?
It's going to expire.
Yep. Why are you going to max it? Like, I maxed out my guns for kill trackers, and now you're telling me I can't keep that kill tracker in a year? Like, so why grind shards if you're grinding for something that goes away? Doesn't that make them ephemeral? Like, I like what you're saying about like wanting to grind shards, but it'd be amazing in an economy where they stay around. But since loot expires,
valid point. No, that's valid
loses
point.
A bit for me, I think.
And in conjunction to your argument, with me and E have also had an issue with is the price for energy masterworking specifically, right? So when you masterwork, actually guns as well, like you masterwork weapons and armor, this is a tremendous cost, right? The enhancement prisms, the legendary shards, the glimmer, you know what I'm saying? And then that last step, which is the golf ball to get it to the, to the 10, this is expensive. So, like you said, to tell a base after you've masterworked this thing, now that's not gonna go with you. That's a tough sell. You then, like you said, the question is, how do they make that attractive to even do?
They can't make the currency so hard to come by.
That's my point.
Well, it's like, for one, stop capping me at 10. That just pisses everybody off because people are farming that to be like, oh, you can't stock them up. So people are farming the crap out of it. It's like, that's the source of a different issue. If like, artificial grind. You can't hold 10, then that's a different problem. But it's like, if you make them more readily available, I would toy around with armor more. You wouldn't have quite the worry of losing it after a certain amount of time. Right. If these types of things, MMO light problems. It was like Dizzy actually like nails there. I was like, no, but it's like they talk about the MMORPG, but there's so much still a shooter and not the MMO.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the point. It's like you talk about the guns that have these attachments, but you also have a game where I can die everywhere no matter what level I am. So it's like they can't have their cake and eat it too, but now at this point I'm just looking at the cake and I can't even eat it. Like I was like, it's in the wind.
That was good.
That was good.
Like it's the problem of if you guys talk about like sunsetting of weapons, stuff like that. If there was a new light level and like new content came out that was actually going to, it's going to require a higher light level. But if most of the game, if there was like, hey, we have a new planet, Europa. To go walk around that planet, you got to be a higher light level because patrol's even going to kill you.
Okay.
That would be a way to start being like, okay, like literally everything at this point, I got to go get, newer stuff.
Right.
And that's a point.
They kind of did that, but they have a floor, right? Like in Destiny 1, they sort of enemies will scale up, sort of, but at the same time, like a level 16, you couldn't go into the Dreadnought and have an easy time when that first released. Like those guys hit really hard, but once you leveled up and hit max, then they hit just as hard as the guys in level 1 zone. So it's a weird floor. Like their balancing is odd, but they're doing it to make the best feeling shooter, which I respect because that's way better than going into Division and being like, oh my god, it's taking 20 minutes to kill this one guy because I can't hit his shield.
Shout out to that Division slander. Continue.
Shout out to the Division hoodie. Yeah.
I love the game. I love the game when the damage numbers feel good. But like as a shooter, like Destiny's good feel is because they don't tune enemies like that. So I'm like torn. I get your point, and I totally. It's weird. Like I half agree, and it's what game are we making here? Are we making a game about bullet sponges, or are we making a game that feels like a great shooter?
Well,
I'm always going to lean, I think, shooter side personally.
And that's where it gets to be a weird debate if they're like, hey, we're going to embrace the MMORPG, and I'm like, you're still a heavy shooter with loot. I mean, that's what they are. They are a shooter that feels amazing, that has loot. Okay, my issue with Avengers. I haven't done a review. I know other people have. I've tried not to watch them. At some point, I may put one together, but it's just, I got to crap or get off the pot. But the biggest thing with Avengers, it is worse in almost every aspect because it is just numbers. The gear doesn't look different. You're still the same moves and abilities and skill sets. Even the loot that you get doesn't change how you look. Like you get a Hulk rib cage, and you're like, what is this? So it's like, so I'm like, okay, so I got a Hulk rib cage. So like a number went up a little bit. But it was like, even in that, though, I'm going around and I'm still getting absolutely squished, and I never play powerful. So it's like, even in a game like that, where you're like, okay, now I'm getting these numerical things that don't change the look. I don't have a physical attachment. I still have the exact same skills. It is pure numbers to a point of, but it's also oddly balanced the way Destiny is, because I can still die, for one, really fast, but no matter what mission I launch, it balances to my level. So I never can go into an old thing and be like, cool, I can go stomp her. That's the thing about, like, I mean, yes, I reference World a lot, but a MMO, you're like, this zone is level 15. Well, I'm level 60. You can like walk through there and look through stuff and be like, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead. Without even like, I could go solo a dungeon when I'm level 16 at like a level 15 dungeon without even batting an eye. No matter where you go, everything kills you in these games. And it's like, that's a weird thing. Like there should be certain places where you get to feel powerful and nothing. But then as Doc said, it's like, it's a shooter. It's like, if there are certain places like, okay, so my hand cannon still one shots, cool. But now it's like, okay, do you get to the point where my SMG like shoots him in the toe and I still kill him? As like, how do you make a shooter feel that way? So it's like, I don't envy Bungie of trying to make this happen, but it does feel weird at times, and it's a weird thing to balance. I know. So I just talked myself in a circle, but it's just, it's odd. It is true. Like, it's weird because I don't know how to fix it.
You brought up an interesting point though. When you mentioned that they say they're trying to make an MMO, right? And maybe the leveling thing isn't what we need to focus on, but it's actually like loot, like build variety, right? Maybe it's less about what we're doing with, and ghosts kind of help with build variety, which is cool. But like, I was talking with a friend who makes roguelikes, so really randomized games, right? And he's like, yeah, the problem that Bungie has is their randomization only has like one level of randomization, and you need like 3 before it really starts to get really interesting. But you can play a game like Diablo and like you're like, oh yeah, I had a friend, I logged in and I was like, what is this? And he had like 16 summons running around behind him, right? And it's like, yeah, well, I built this, this, and this. And then I got another friend who's playing Division, and he got his perks in just such a way, he's wearing all these unique pieces of gear that he can get like 10 million damage headshots. But now he has to play in cover. And that's what's cool. The perks change the way he plays, which means that he can make different builds, and that's going to change the actual. Like you go into the same mission, but one time you're in cover, another time you're out of cover. Like dynamics like that make the game feel more varied.
Now,
so it is one thing I wish they do.
Yeah, that's what I love about the that build stuff, and being able, to min-max and have specific legendary armor. Like they have those sets.
Oh, legendary armor sets. God, we've talked about that forever.
We've talked about since Flash, when Doc was here, we was talking about that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like last year. So it's like at the end of the day, it's like they still dip their toe, but they don't really embrace the full thing.
Well, it's like stasis, even you have fragments and aspects, but that is like a baby version of a build. It's not like here's a like perk tree of like 3 10-piece. Like you look at is it Outriders? Is that what I always get that name wrong? The new one.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, from People Can Fly.
Yep.
Yeah, People Can Fly.
So like they have 3 different skill trees, and you're not going to be able to get everything. You can go deep down one and really specialize in a place. Like that's what it's going to take for them to get to that, to embrace the RPG, is like a skill tree that matters. Having builds, having that synergy that works with like your weapons, like maybe you're like, I know being a healer would sound strange in this game, but you have a warlock that has a rift. You have the warlock that has a well, and you have your healing grenades. And then you could go deeper into that heal store. Like, hey, if you spec healing, I get double nades. My rifts come up more often, but only the healing ones because those are helpful. Right. Like there are ways to go deeper, and they like, as you said, the toe is barely in the water testing the temperature, but they are so far from like a deep skill treed RPG. Like they got a long way to go.
No,
but the builds would be huge. I would love that.
Yeah, I want the damn sets.
I want to be able to get a Titan, and I want to be able to go in and be like, every guy I punch gives my allies overshields, and if I have a shotgun that, increases my punch damage, suddenly I'm bringing that in, right? Like I want all these things that turn me into like a close range killing machine. Whereas like maybe with my hunter, I'm all about scout rifles. And I'm all about,
back to scouts. He's always back to scouts. You notice that? Scouts don't leave him.
I'm a hunter. Like, what else am I going to carry, right? I want to be able to, like, run around and be like, pinging these guys with headshots at range that, like, say, marks enemies near them or poisons enemies. I want to be able to really do some weird stuff in this game. And they need to just embrace it. But I imagine their systems are really complex. Like, we've heard reports their tools are a problem. So I think this is it's one of the things you have to design for early on. And Bungie, everything we know about their history is like, I think Jamie told me they made Halo in 8 months. He's the guy who designed the Warthog.
Wow.
Like they've been building it over years, but like as an RTS, when they actually sat down and made the game that we got, Halo Combat Evolved, was like 8 months. Halo 4, they had all these cool, or Halo 2, they had all these cool ideas, threw them out, rebuilt the game really quickly. Yeah. It's a thing they do a lot. Jason Schreier's book, they did it with Destiny.
Yes, blood, sweat, and pixels.
So I feel like part of it might just be not sitting down and going, this is the game we want to make, and then making that. And that's a problem that we have industry-wide. It's why, all these studios are really big and they go, oh, we got to, work on it till it's done. Like Blizzard did that, right? And then they released Diablo 3, which didn't work out for them. And then they had to release an expansion to fix it. When you have a lot of money, you can spend a lot of time on polish. Doesn't necessarily mean you should have spent that much time making it. If you spent a lot more time in pre-pro and you knew what you wanted and you knew how to build these things right from the get-go, you could build your tech to do it, but they don't. A lot of this is, bolting things on. I heard Jade Rabbit is hardwired basically, so they can't change the perk, even though it's actually better to just do headshots than use the exotic perk.
Yeah, that gun gets to shine. Momentum control was almost built for Jade Rabbit.
Yeah, oh my god. Yes.
Momentum control was such a cool idea.
Like I was literally playing that yesterday because I was working on, it was like the tribute hall. I need 2 random ass tributes for my Bad Juju Catalyst. I'm like 2 away. I'm like, okay, put on the old Callus armor and go into these activities. Cool. And then momentum control is like, we get more kills in there. And I was going through, I was like, I like that. Now, that game mode can be frustrating for some people. I get it. The kills can be quick. I can body shot somebody with a sniper, but it goes both ways. But the fact that you get to have a game mode where the sandbox feels different, I love it.
No, I feel that part. And that's why I know why you like Mayhem. Like, you like those.
Like this. Not like ever. It's just not like, here's your basic sandbox with a coat of like Clash, Control. And it's like, you're just putting a coat of paint on the same feel. It's nice to have those times where things do feel different. Not all the time. No. I mean, some things need to be standardized.
I'll feel that.
But I do like when, you go into momentum control. These guns feel crazy. I got a Bad Juju and like I could feel the range a lot more on Bad Juju as well, because I get like the triple 40s. I'm like, oh, that wasn't a headshot. But if I get the triple 67s, just like one trigger pull and they're dead. And it was like, oh, feels good. So it's like there are times when you go through and it's like Mayhem mixes it up. Momentum Control mixes it up. And I know they're not all going to be that way, but man, like that's just a random shout out, just me playing yesterday. I was like, I miss how fun that game mode feels. And I'm glad it's not completely leaving. It will be coming back at some point in season 4.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, these are all things that eventually they're going to have to, evolve into. You know what I'm saying? And again, I still want those sets, man, because I feel like as great as exotics are, they've become a crutch. And if they're not going to do what E wants, which is what I really want, which is the whole being able to put the mods, the artifact stuff in conjunction with the exotics, then also, like that needs to happen so we can utilize some of these underutilized exotics. But like I want let's say like you running the full, raid set, you know what I'm saying? And it gives this intrinsic bonus to make you play a certain way or add like that definitely, you know what I'm saying, needs to be in the game. So this way, I'll be honest with you, like when I play, it feels weird when I don't have an exotic on. To me, you know what I'm saying? Like it feels weird. Like I'm not optimal because I'm not, and my thing, there should be reward for having a set, and that should have some intrinsic gameplay changing thing that should help the player. You know what I mean? So that's what I definitely want. So that's me. That's where I'm at. Chat going in.
No, I was like, I will say for like, I'm with like, no, just as we were talking about like exotics and all those different pieces, and it's just this weird feeling of exotics don't even feel exotic anymore to me to a point. And that's like whether it be, and that's like GMD was talking about like vaulting exotics and reworking them and bringing them back and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, don't get Cognito started on the vaulting exotics thing. It's like we'll get into another discussion.
It's weird.
We talked about it before that exotics, there's a lot of them that are kind of trash. So
Aeon. All the Aeon Swift.
All the Aeons in the bushes.
Get the hell out of here.
All those in the bushes. Yes.
But yeah, like gear sets and when you said the raid specific perks.
Oh, man, do I
just
miss
like
those.
That's right now. If they don't embrace that, there is very little incentive for armor. It looks different, but that's it. I can go get my 64 piece stat of armor from Solstice, from Last Wish, from Nightfalls, from wherever. And if I get my 64 stat of armor, I'm good for 9 months.
Pretty much. Yep. Yeah.
So if they don't build in perks for the like, hey, if you're wearing the full, like if you wear like 3 pieces of the new raid set, you're doing 5% more damage in Deepstone Crypt. And if you're wearing 5 pieces, you get faster reload speed on your weapons. And like they need to, and we've probably said this a lot too. We're repeating a lot. Sorry if you guys have been listening. But it's just like,
but it's still a problem. So
it's still a problem because it's like if you go through an activity, Reckoning was the prime example of how not to do it. Go do an activity, get rewarded for something else. That's so backwards. Right. But yeah, go into Deepstone Crypt. 3 pieces do something, 5 pieces do something. Even if it is just in there, you have incentive to now keep this set. This is another set I want, as opposed to I have my set for the next 9 to 10 months and I'm good. You're pointing at here.
So I'm pointing at, I gotta get this before you go, Jack, because I'm gonna forget this point. That's where I thought we were going with Gambit Prime.
Yep.
I thought Gambit Prime was the foundation of the right direction. Like, okay, cool, we got this set, even though it looked ugly. Shout out to no shout out to the art team on that. And I love your art team, but that was not a goal who did those armors. But anyway, I loved it. Remember, you put on 2 parts and you would see the stats rise, and then there were specific roles and sentry and all that. It was the right direction, you know what I'm saying, for a mode. So I'm like, okay, this is their experimentation. They're going to get, now we find out, okay, one of the Gambits is gone, Prime's still staying. What's up with the sets? Like, why are we not bringing them back? And it's just like, again, same thing, Crucible, same thing. Like, if you're going to give, those ritual armors and those they're literally cosmetic with no function in the activity.
Yeah. So
0.
I got two things now. I was going to say one, but now I got 2. So you point out my first question was going to be, does the new upcoming cosmetic system mitigate some of these frustrations? But then you just said, that your problem is they are just cosmetic. My guess is this. The reason Bungie hasn't pushed into it is they looked at their data and they said, "Oh man, not many people are doing Gambit Prime unique armor." It's like, of course, we're all sitting here going, "'Cause they're ugly."
They tied it to another activity, which was stupid. The way they set
and it
that
only
up.
worked in Prime and not regular. Like they stuck it in this tiny little baby ball on the director, and you're like, "What the hell?"
Yeah, it's bad at literally everything. Like none of it makes sense. It's all like, again, I'm saying I love Bungie in so many ways, but that was a very poorly. Exactly. Yeah. That was a very poorly thought out thing. But I imagine they're looking at their data and they're going, "Well, the data says people don't do it." Like faction rallies, right? They were like, all these people like, "Please bring back these guns. They look incredible." And Bungie was like, "Well, our data shows that nobody did faction rallies." It's like, well, faction rallies sucked. I mean, they weren't fun. They were literally go into this one lost sector and grind it like 50 times. Like conceptually, the way the idea played out, it was like, okay, this is an activity I enjoy playing. So they were like, you don't want to do faction rallies. It's like, no, you need to rework faction rallies. They need to be good. And this is the problem with the armor set. So my assumption is that's probably what happened here is they went, what's the point? People aren't really chasing these armor sets where, and because, again, all those patch notes, like I'll go back to this point, all those patch notes that they got, it's like people are doing this for power. So they must be looking and going, I guess people just don't think they're powerful enough. And it's like, no, we think they look like garbage. And we want, like, if I got the set from, I got that hunter set with the eyes all over it from Tangled Shore. Yes. I love the Tangled Shore set. Yes, if you gave me a Tangled Shore set that had really cool perks, I'd chase it down.
Bro.
Right now I'm chasing it because I still haven't got a single good rolled helmet.
Yeah, bro. I'm with you. I'm so with you. There's a Warlock set is like this almost gladiator style helmet and then this chainmail sick kind of thing. It's mean, and perks are always horrible when I get it. But I'm just like, man, I would love this rework with some cool perks. And yeah, I'm with you on that, Doc. Big time, man. Like they've got to rework the modes, you know what I'm saying, to make it fun, and then people would do it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, yeah, I think they made some what you used to call it. You had a term for it in one of your articles. I forgot. But at the end of the day, I do agree with exactly what you're saying in reference to that. They make these weird judgment calls and think we're not doing it because of something else when it really comes down to the acquisition and the fact it's either not fun or just not implemented correctly. So yeah, I would definitely agree with you on that. E, you were about to say something?
I'm letting you guys go back and forth. I shut up and listen sometimes, so it's fine.
Okay. Cool. I'm having fun, but yeah, I'm with you on the. I think armor should be really for builds, right? So I think they can change. Like I'm not saying that it shouldn't be. I'm just saying, like, I think if I was gonna sit back and design this game, I'd be like, all right, you can grind for specific sets with specific perks in specific locations. So if you're like, I want this, I want to make this build, that's the content you grind, and that's what you do. I wouldn't do the thing like Bungie does where it's like, no, you're grinding too hard, or not, just let people do what they want. Like, let people be self-directed. And so scatter armor sets all around the game. So it's not just like, oh yeah, you get the global loot pool everywhere you go. I want to be like, no, if you do this activity, you get this armor. If you get this activity, you get this armor. Oh, you really want that raid set? Then you gotta grind that raid.
Factual. Let's go.
They could bring Benedict back and be like, yeah, every raid actually gives tokens now, and so if you complete one raid this week, you could get loot from any raid.
Absolutely, I love that. That's kind of what Wrath of the Machine used to do. It would still incentivize a person for still running it, even if he got the drops for the week. He could, based on the frequency of him running it and helping other people, he still would get rewarded by mixing those Siva keys. So Benedict could still serve that purpose to, again, incentivize, keep running. I completely agree. And I love your point about specific activity, specific set. It definitely encourages you to participate. Definitely.
I want to like go to Earth and be like, well, I want a Duke Mark 44. If I grind Earth, I get it. If I go to Mars, I get a completely different gun, I want to be able to chase like that so every night feels different. And then, differentiate. Like, builds come from armor and weapons enhance the builds, but weapons are character. So part of it is, we're trying to do like my ideal Destiny would be, I'm working on creating unique builds. I save these sets because I want different play styles for different nights. Who I'm playing with. Like if I got a 2 warlock team and I'm a rogue or a hunter, I'm going to play very differently than if I'm like with a, perfectly balanced, Titan warlock hunter team, right? So I want like, different sets of builds. What am I feeling tonight? Get that from armor so that I'm chasing it as much as I want, as long as I want. And then just constantly changing up weapons just to max out that mastery, get all the cosmetics, get all the, account upgrades, things like that. So that I can do whatever I want every night, but there's always a meaningful and interesting goal to chase rather than just, I don't know, do strikes for a while. You might get a Duke Mark 44. You might get like, any one of these guns that could drop in the global pool. Like focus the game more. You do that, the game will get a lot better.
Look at that, man. Still on point as usual, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Still on point, man. I would agree.
I should probably say something else about scout rifles, but I'm not gonna.
That's just what we're gonna title this episode.
Yeah, we're gonna title this episode
Episode 121. Feet DocSquiddy. Yep. Scout rifles need love.
Scout rifles. Definitely is in the title of this one. Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, though, shout out to Bungie, of course, always doing the right thing for good people. They said next week we have a tribute going live in the game to honor one of our dear friends of Vicarious Visions who passed away last year.
Aww.
Matt Helsum. The weekly reset will include a director message that will send you to Mars for a short quest to honor Mr. Helsum. He worked closely with the teams at both Bungie and Vicarious Visions on various projects during our partnership. We wanted to memorialize his contributions to the Destiny universe. We wish all his family, friends, and everyone that he impacted during his life the very best. Thank you to everyone in the community who joined us in remembering his warm soul. So, didn't honestly expect it, but a nice little side quest to honor a guy who worked on the game, and most likely anybody who we lost who's a game developer, guaranteed probably way too soon. So, shout out to what Bungie's doing, and then, of course, our condolences to Mr. Wholesom's family as well. But I mean, other than that, to not turn it into a somber note to finish this thing up and bring everybody down, patch is coming on the 22nd. They're going to do the hot fix for that one, and that's going to kind of also get Xbox Game Pass prepped up. We've got Forsaken and Shadowkeep going live, so if you got Xbox Game Pass, you will be, getting some free Destiny. So even if you haven't played since D1, Forsaken, Shadowkeep, basically the whole damn game is going to be free on there. Go enjoy it. The only thing you won't have is the seasonal content, but you got like 6 weeks. If you play through everything else, you're probably going to get a good experience anyway, and see if you want to get ready for Beyond Light. That one's cool.
Definitely shot in the arm. I mean, you know how I feel about this. At the end of the day, this is a fantastic way for people to get into the ecosystem. I think they're going to get a tremendous influx, and then come November 10th with the next generation consoles with the Series X, I'm seeing a lot of people saying, yeah, I'll definitely touch Destiny. And with the fact that Microsoft has a little bit of a slight little first party issue at launch, Destiny becomes super attractive to a lot of people with a new console. So yeah, I'm excited for my Xbox brothers. They're definitely going to be catching up. Shadowkeep and Forsaken is fantastic content. If you have not, there's tons of people have not played Destiny in so long. So to have that free in Game Pass is going to be a nice bump. And then
cross save works with this, right?
Not yet. It's going to be what is it?
I think next gen is going to be platform cross generational is the way. I guess how they phrase that.
I'm just going to be like Xbox One base guys with Xbox Series X / Series S guys, and PlayStation 5 with PlayStation 4 guys. Yep. But yeah, so they're going to stay on their platforms. But then the Bungie said next year is when we get the integration. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, because I'm, as a PC player, I'm just thinking, hey, I might check out Beyond Light just with Game Pass. I know some of my friends were thinking about, maybe coming back, but because they're not, happy with the loot thing, they might just want to play the story. So they're just thinking, we run through the campaign real quick, Yeah. But for me, it's like Vault of Glass. I want to play Vault of Glass again. I don't know if I can convince a whole team, all my old guys from D1 to come back for Vault of Glass. So maybe Game Pass will let us do that.
Bro, when they see it, all Vault of Glass fanboys can talk what they want. As soon as they see it and they announce, and Bungie gonna have that fly trailer And they gonna have the fields is gonna come in. All they gonna do is show like Fatebringer or something. Everyone's going to go crazy. Dude, they're gonna break the internet. They gonna be like, remember the field? Remember where you were? When you did X, Y, and Z, they're gonna show the the spiral's gonna be going to market. They gonna have the fly music. We back. Come on, who are we fooling?
Oh, that raid trailer is gonna be something.
Remember the day.
I'm like, depending on season date starts, that thing's gonna be like the March, April timing, however they like date them out. That's gonna be like 6 months after,
sounds right.
Halfway after launch, and that lull in the spring. Vault of Glass is gonna get that big shot in the arm to give the spring season of the 2021 season of Unworthy, whatever that one is
it'll be
is
weak,
going
but it'll
to be
have Vault
with a giant asterisk of plus Vault.
plus Vault.
If they I think you're right, because Bungie makes the hypest trailers of all time.
They're the greatest.
But it's gonna sound like that Artifact reveal video if they show champions in that trailer.
Oh my god, you with the champions! You with the goddamn. Listen, man. Hey, they gotta do something to help Atheon out, man. He's not gonna survive. We're gonna jump in the middle. Guardians gonna make their own fate. On one side, you're gonna make their fate. On the other side, we're gonna cover the middle. You're gonna have a Captain America Titan with the thing shooting through. We're gonna have the Well of Radiance. He's gonna be melted in the first run if they don't do something.
You realize they don't ever have like champions in boss fights anyway.
No, I'm just.
They might have him in the 2 portal rooms, but when you're in there with Atheon, they won't be there.
Definitely. He ate a portal with blurring our eyes. Yeah.
If they put him in the Gorgon maze, I will like drive to Luke Smith's house and just drop on my knees and scream, why?
He gonna be in the Gorgon. I can see that. With the oracles.
Killing all the Gorgons was one of the best things I ever did in Destiny 1.
Oh, that was satisfying, because that thing used to terrorize us. That was satisfying. I will say. I want to do the jumping puzzle. I go for it. The nostalgia, like E said, we just got to see how they implement it. But the nostalgia of just building that spire. I gotta open it. I gotta open that. But where Fozzie at? Fozzie, he know the deal. Like I just gotta. That was just wondrous for me. I'll never forget that moment. I was like, what are they? I remember just going in Venus or Patrol Space and like, what are these Guardians doing? Like I was just, you know how you just passing through, and I didn't know what that was Vault of Glass at the time. So you just see people. I'm like, why are they here? Why is there 6 people here all the time?
I'm still so curious how we get in there.
Yeah.
Well, because Venus is not going to be in the game. And I've never seen them do like part of a patrol zone with like a sandbox sitting behind it. But what's it going to be like invisible walls? I'm honestly wondering how we enter that place, because that patrol zone doesn't exist and theoretically won't.
I'm worried they're going to just be like, hey, it's Nessus. Come to Nessus. That's how you start.
Yeah.
We added a new area to Nessus. It's a new entrance because Vex time is... No, take me back to Venus. It's the only planet I care about. Like, I got the moon. I'm happy. Maybe. That's my second favorite planet. But I need Venus.
Maybe they dust that bad boy off out of the vault. They dust it off out of that DC.
Maybe that's what they're doing.
Maybe Venus is the content. For
Venus is not coming. That's another planet. There's no like. I wonder.
I mean, they're taking half the planets away, right? Like, so maybe they are gonna like drip feed planets in, like one at a time. Like, hey, season, we got a whole planet, because that would hype people up. You know, that would hype people up. Is for this season, we just added a planet. People would be like, oh my god. But that's usually something they reserve for expansions, like big.
That'd be a big ask.
Yeah, we are asking a lot for it. This is definitely Bungie here.
it would soften the blow, though. It would soften the blow of the whole, you know, we took all the planets you gave us money for away.
Factual. Yeah, man. It's going to be fun. I just can't wait, though, to see that. I know the trailer's going to slap. That trailer's going to slap.
Oh, it's going to. Yeah, they got the best trailer team.
Yeah.
Facts.
I want their camera controls, dude. For one, I want a screenshot mode that just like no HUD, no gun removal. Just let me take a clean shot for the.
Yeah,
please.
Destiny needs a photo mode.
But like an actual like cinematic mode that you could turn on just to like get a not even a free roaming camera. Let me just have like even a shot, but the free roaming camera would be wonderful.
bro.
I don't know. Just there's so much you could do as this game always looks so amazing. I've like
how we do in Ghost of Tsushima. We sit there. Half of my gameplay hours is me in photo mode because I'm in this cool place and cherry blossoms are around me and I got the hot suit with the poles and like I just want to do that in Destiny. Sometimes you got that outfit on you in that cool and the skyboxes. Oh man, it would look great. But
I was
will say
they have the tools. We'll just never get them.
Yeah, I'm definitely. For my Xbox brothers who are definitely going next gen, man. Y'all get that 60 frames. Oof, brother, it's no going back. I cannot wait for them to have that NVMe, that fast loading and that 60 frames. And I got that OLED now, that CX to test it out.
Yeah, like system seller differences be like load speed of going to the tower on like PS4 versus PS5. And people are just going to be like, I got to get a next-gen console for what? Destiny 2. It's a must-buy. You're like, wait, what?
Yep. Yo, shout out to Dizzy in the Clays by Clan, man. He's like, you're not welcome back. You left us.
Yeah, you did bail. So,
listen,
God
man,
damn it, who did it?
When you see November 10th, you gonna understand why. You can be, oh, this is why he was out. It's a whole new game, brother. That's it. You got to come to the VIP section of the club now.
You guys talk. I'll be back.
Let's go. Let's go.
As a PC player, yes. I'm very. I have the game installed on an SSD already, and it's.
So you know what it is. You know what it is.
I when they did the cross save, I booted up and I was like, "Come on, this can't be that bad." And
they got E with the who did it? Who redeemed it? Who did? Who did I miss? Damn. E with the perfect fall right now, getting ready for the fall, getting that that fall cardio in, getting this. Oh, we touching the knob now. Oh, we in shape, y'all. Look at that professional turn and twist and extra extension. You already know the abs is on fleek right now. The boy's in shape. He eating right. When you can do that, you're eating right. Salute. Yeah, man. Shout out to the chat. Yeah, they said I left them hard. Yeah, you damn right I left y'all hard now. Y'all got that 30 frame molasses mode. I ain't doing that. Listen, I'm sorry. If you would have played driving a Toyota and I got a Roy, hey, you would have stayed in your Toyota. That's your business. But now that y'all upped your game, I'll be back. Salute to E.
What's up, guys?
GMT J Fun. They got that. He's in his bag today. I definitely got the boy drinking. But he got his cardio in. You know what I'm saying? Leaders lead, leave it. Listen, man.
Get him, Dizzy. Get him.
Listen, I went to my gated community. I left you in the projects, bro.
Oh my God.
Hey, don't get mad at me because I moved up. Let me stop. Oh my God. Anyway, all jokes aside, it's gonna be fun. November 10th. Get ready. This is a great deal for gamers. I love new people into the ecosystem. It's gonna be fun, man. Hey, yo, Fozzie said you cheated. Yo, you stupid. Question: can we get a channel points redeemed to make IOP 2 Yo, Geek, easy.
Oh, I mean, you spend the points there. Yeah, you could probably. You got to talk that out with him, but we might have to.
Easy, Geek. Easy.
What do we?
I put up enough gym stuff on Twitter. That shit's satisfying.
I got your tweets of you walking around. I didn't see any actually live action.
Boy said I'm frauded. Yo, just left the gym. Cheeseburger up here.
There you go. Yeah. So we need to set up our Patreon just to get you to work out. There we go. Last word, Patreon.
There we go. Shots fired. Boy, Seti, what up? I see you. No doubt. But it was a good show. Good show today.
Well, man, it was awesome to have you today, Doc. It's been an absolute pleasure. Of course, been too long, but glad to have you back in. Somehow we never run out of stuff to talk about. That's for sure.
Never.
Destiny's a big game.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got anything else for the day?
I mean, I'm gonna go play Mario.
That's fair. I actually can't argue with that.
No, I mean, I'm having a blast. We could talk for 10 more hours on Destiny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think we want to. But if you want me to, you want me to come back a little bit sooner, I'll probably be able to pace out what I'm saying a little bit better than waiting 2 years now.
Yeah, 2 years. You did wait. He
had a lot to get off his chest, so he had to get all
the scout rifle knowledge in. He had to get that out.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Episode 121, scout rifles.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, bro. But now, what I tell people what you got going on? What could they find you? All that good stuff, man.
You can find me at DocSquiddy on Twitter, obviously. I'm making a game called Adios. That's on Steam. You should wishlist it. It's just a short little story-based game. But if I sell about 7,500 copies, I get to go live in a cabin in the woods in Canada for a month, which is what I'm going to do to decompress. So,
Nice.
please buy as many copies as possible so I can do that.
Support this
Also,
man
so I
putting
can-
out the work in the game dev world. Come on.
Yeah, man.
Gotta buy myself a Series X too, so I can
Yes.
I can play Destiny on the latest and greatest
Yes.
console.
I'm gonna put the link to Adios in there for y'all, man. Check my boy out, man.
Yeah,
It's up in there right now. Steam powered.
It is. I know it's on Steam as the that's where we can wishlist it. That's just because we're getting it on the Xbox store, so it will be on Xbox
Ooh.
2. Yeah, it'll
Okay.
day and date. They're the ones who backed us up. I gotta say, people at Xbox, they're amazing. They are like
Salute.
kind, supportive, and very into games.
Nice.
Like I was blown away by just how like amazing the guys I've been working with are. Like they're legit. Like they're real. They're not just like big business types. It's great. So yeah, it'll be an Xbox game. If it was coming to other consoles, the contract would prevent me from telling you that. So I couldn't say it, but
confirm
it will
when you
be
die.
unless we like somehow manage to get like another $20,000, we will be shipping this year.
Awesome. That's
Yeah,
what's up, man.
yeah,
Nice.
it's coming pretty soon, but it's got DC Douglas, the voice of Albert Wesker, in it. So I'm pretty hyped. A bunch of people told me the story is really good, so that's great because I worked really hard on that. So
Nice.
we'll see.
Nice.
But I'm hoping maybe my next game is a shooter.
Ooh.
That's what I want. I want to finally prove to people like I know what I'm talking about with shooters. So that's what I'm gonna do next. But yeah,
You're gonna really get these scout rifles down.
There we go. Yeah.
I'm also like if you want to if you want to read my my Destiny writing, that'll be on medium.com/@DocSeuss, which was my real name, but somebody took that on Twitter, hence DocSquiddy. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
but
I was wondering about that
I wrote
change.
13,000 words on Death Stranding, 7,000 words on Days Gone. Like I get you your money's worth on that. I write dense stuff. I got the Last of Us piece coming here real soon. So
Nice. That one's
Nice.
probably ginormous.
Putting the information.
I
in
think
the
it's 2,000 right now, but the Last of Us 2 one is 7,500 right now.
chat.
So they're long. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Nice, man. Good to have you back, man, at the campfire. Definitely one of our influential guests, and it was always a pleasure, man. Like I said, one of the greatest articles I still say during the Destiny 2's low point was, like I said, your how it failed its base kind of thing, and I'll never forget. It broke the net. Everyone was talking about it. I don't care what nobody say. Bungie read that thing. They took it to heart. And not that short after, we got a Go Fast update. So anybody who like Go Fast, y'all better send some proceeds to my man Doc, man. Better hook him up, man.
If Bungie wants to make Destiny better, I still can sold on AAA. You can call me. I'll come over.
Listen, man. Y'all know what to do, Bungie, man. He's got the ideas. He's definitely got the ideas. Definitely passionate. It's always good to have you, brother.
Always good to be here. You guys are like the perfect podcast. So
appreciate
Oh
you.
man, thank you.
And
there's a lot of good ones out there. So
and was instrumental in choosing the name. Remember that? We was doing after we was going for Flashpoint.
Yeah. Because you were like, I remember I said you should just call it The Last Word because that's the gun, right? And you were like, well, I'm worried, other people might be bothered.
Yeah, we were like worried from going from one to another.
Yeah.
And now you're like, what, 121 episoades in now?
Yeah.
Yep.
121, brother.
Best Destiny podcast on the internet. So
Oh man. Oh, thank you. Oh man.
I think you're rocking it.
Appreciate it.
And good, we got a chance, but at least we got a chance to chop it up at PAX this year. It was good. Actually,
It was great seeing you.
Yeah, that was dope. Thank you for waiting for me. That was cool. People told me, like, yo, someone's here. I was like, all right. He's like, Doc. I was like, oh, what's up, Doc? What's going on, bro? That's what's up. So it was a pleasure this year. Before all the madness of COVID, obviously. At least that was the last convention I went to, and it was really fun. So salute to the DocSquiddy, my man.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
hopefully next time I won't need a wheelchair.
Exactly. No, but you were there, brother. In spirit, that was good. It was good to see. Good to see. And hopefully, if things get back to normal, get Guardian Con. You got to go to one, man. It's Destiny. You got to go to one. GCX, brother.
I might. I'm not sure. Not sure where I'm going next yet. So we'll see.
Fair enough. Yeah, and then for me, I guess I'm up.
Yep, that's you.
Yeah, man. Listen, look, fantastic show. You already know. Lord Cognito on Twitter, Iron Lord Podcast on Sunday. This week, Cognito is on vacation.
What?
A much needed vacation. Kind of half business, but more vacation. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be out there in the state of Washington, just relaxing for a little bit, just catching up on some things. And but show the Lord some love, man. I will definitely be checking in on my kids to make sure they're behaving while I'm gone at the Iron Lord podcast on Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern, NFL football time. It's going to be multi-streamed on YouTube and Twitch. So check us out. We're going to have probably a guest, and definitely be talking about all the stuff with PlayStation 5, the big showcase, everything that's been going on in the world. And man, it's good. He said, watch out for the water. Yeah, I got to watch out for the fires too. But yeah, man. So go check them out. That's going to be fun. And again, a salute to everybody who supports lordsofgaming.net. Love what the guys are doing, man. We are on Open Critic. Guys are just, they're killing it. And gals. It's a nice team, and it's truly inspiring. So go check out those articles. Please support that. It means a lot to me. And so I know probably next week, because I'll be away, you know what I'm saying? Unless something crazy happens.
I think you're actually probably on the safest week for Destiny to go away, because if you would have been leaving next week and Destiny would have launched, would you have still left?
That ain't happening. Vacation's got to be worked around.
So this getting moved out made this trip happen. So
because
I think you're going to be good.
Actually, this vacation is a result of me thinking the original release date was going to be. Remember?
The original release was like November 22nd.
No, wasn't it?
Or September 22nd.
Right, which would have been next week.
Yeah.
Which I would have been off. So I took that time off.
Okay, that's what you mean, yeah.
So I'm like, well, I got the week off. Might as well do something now that Destiny's not out. Yeah, Light's not there. But yeah, that's what it is, man. So salute. And E, what you got going on, man?
Just been playing through Avengers, working on trying to get up to a point where I can kind of intelligently talk about that. But yeah, working on kind of a project on the side, waiting to see if that one comes through, a little bit of work stuff going on. And then you guys know, working on just like triumphs and tributes and stuff like that.
He was real smooth with Project on the side, y'all.
It's not even greenlit yet, so I was like, I'm not gonna count my eggs until they chickens till they hatch or whatever. That's all. That saying is completely broken. Cool. But yeah, you guys know where to find me: Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. It's Ibantis everywhere. 49,000 subs to get to 100, so we're climbing. We'll get there eventually. So, but thank you guys very much for all the support. This is awesome. Obviously, we know Cognito's going to be out next week, so no official last word. If I do something else different, I may hit it up on my Discord, so if you guys want to jump in there, let me know. Might do something different, fun, or just if there's something to talk about for the TWAB, I'll just do a video over that. If there's anything major like ghosts and stuff, I'll definitely do a recap of that one. But other than that, man, Doc, it has been a pleasure to have you today. Thank you so much for coming through. Awesome to chat. As you said, we could probably talk for many more hours about all of this stuff.
Oh, it's always great. It's always great. You guys, like I said, the perfect Destiny podcast. It's great.
Thank you, brother. It really means a lot. Much appreciated, brother.
Well, thank you. So for today, I think we'll wrap this thing up. Obviously, we're still never knowing how long we're going to go longer than we think it's going to happen. So for episode 121, thank you, Doc, again for coming out. Cognito, go follow this man, Iron Lords, lordsofgaming.net. And for me, Ibantis right here, September 18th, episode 121. It's been the last word.